got
your fucking sick nasty mic now, so you're like, oh,
When I
my
got-
name's Mike and I got a mic.
You've been how long on this podcast
How long is
have
my
you been
dick?
waiting to make
It's
that
really
joke?
long.
How long have you
That's
been
the
waiting to make
answer.
that joke?
I've been waiting my whole life to make that joke.
Every time you touch your microphone,
Every
you're
time
like,
I touch
touching a
myself,
piece
I
of
think of that joke.
So I came home and saw that this
Yeah.
microphone was supposed to be here tomorrow, but it came today, so I get it a day early. I'm
Good
glad
job.
it's here for the recording. Cool. Now we know what I sound like with a quote unquote decent mic.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll get my mic.
Sure.
Maybe.
If a poor scrub like me can get one, I'm sure you can get it.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't have money.
Neither do I.
No.
My
No.
wife's probably very mad at me that I spent some money on something.
I can't even get like breakfast. That's up where I am. I eat sawdust.
Did you get Starbucks?
No.
Aren't there nutrients in Starbucks to some
I wish
degree?
there were nutrients.
Can't you
in
live off of
I'd be
Starbucks for
the most
like 4
nutrient
hours?
Fucking enriched person in the world.
I've asked this question to you before, but there is a website. I think it's Soylent something. Apparently, you can
Pornhub.
buy shakes. You can buy shakes, and I
Yeah.
guess they supplement your food for the day. So instead of eating 3 square meals, you just drink 3 shakes. Would you do that? Would you just swap over?
If I could drink 3 shakes a day and, get all my nutrients for the day, I would drink those 3 shakes and then eat 3 meals in between the shakes.
But that now you have an excess.
But I'm hungry.
Yeah, but that's how you gain extra weight and become.
I just want to be like
Fatter.
the people. I already explained this to you once. I want to be like the people on Wall-E. Okay? That's my goal in life, is to have a little hover fucking thing. I sit there and I don't have to get up to
Just
go to
wanna
the
be this
bathroom.
500-pound
the food just comes
mass
to me.
of meat.
It just mainlines straight into my veins. And
This
I
is
play
sad.
video games all day
Now
while the robots do
I
work.
wasn't with you until you said the play video games all day thing. Now
Yep.
I'm with you.
Now
But
you're with
the fact
me.
that I'm
We're
going to have
both
to be
gonna
a
be Wall-E.
400-pound blob with
Yep.
almost no bone
You know what?
structure.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Wouldn't you give a fuck?
Why?
Wouldn't you just like go hovering around and you just happen to hover by your mirror and you look at yourself and go, man,
What? That would be not playing video
I
games.
guess I'm going to go play Skyrim.
that would be not playing video games.
Well, we actually talked about this too over the weekend, that if you had, and I'm saying a large amount, something that you were guaranteed to not have to work and you could do a lot for other people. If you won the lottery and you had like $500 million, would you be that person that just, you go get a job still, you go work?
Fuck no.
No, I would not.
Not even a little bit.
I don't know what
I wouldn't
this.
even do this podcast.
I
I'd be
don't
too
know.
busy
Whoa.
playing fucking.
What?
I'd be
You
too
have
busy
nothing
doing
but
it.
time to do the hobbies that you want to do.
I'd fucking hire one of my slaves, my many slaves I would have to come do this podcast with you, and he'd be like, "Hello, my name is Adam.
Like
I'm a slave."
it's not the fact that I like to work, it's that I have had
I
that
don't know why he
responsibility.
sounds like a boo from The Simpsons either.
I've had that responsibility in me since I started working. I don't like to work. I just do it because I know I have to. But if it came to the point where I just had a fuck ton of money, I kid you not, I would sit in this house all fucking day long and just play video games. I would just do whatever I want to do, but mainly I'd just play video games.
Yeah.
I would not just go, oh man, I'd go get a job.
I'm one of those
at
people. I got to build a shed, or I got to do something with my hand. Fuck you.
Or this is the kicker. They'll say, well, oh, you know what? I go work. I go get a job somewhere. But I tell you what, I'd be on that mental capacity where if they piss me off, I'd just be like, fuck you, and I leave. I'm like, why would you get a job
put
at all?
yourself through that?
Why would you go and get a job at all? You don't have to. You have millions of dollars. You are set for everything. So why go get a job? You have a check that says you can go do whatever you want in life. Nobody wanting. I don't know. You brought that up where people say they define my career defines my life.
I am this thing. I'm a professional. Fuck you.
I mean, cool.
I do this to live, man. I work so that I can go home and play video games and get yelled at by my wife.
Now, I will say this. A strong caveat would be if that was something that I'm not right now, which is highly intelligent, and I was researching cancer research, where I was trying to find the cure for. If I had some thing that would add to the greater good of the world, I wouldn't just get money and be like, fuck y'all, because I would feel the need.
I would. What? I'd be like, yep, cancer research in the trash.
You're on the verge of
in the trash.
You're on the verge.
I would fucking slam dunk it. I'd look at the little cancer kid. I go, fuck you. And I'd
Is that what are you officially stating on this podcast that you would say fuck you to cancer kids?
I would fucking throw the cancer kid in the trash. Right,
I almost don't want to put this podcast up. This is horrible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the end of time. I'm Michael.
And I'm Adam.
And we are here to talk about anything and everything. Yeah. Fuck cancer kids. I cannot believe you said that on this podcast.
That's right.
No, if I was in cancer research for anybody, kids or not, I wouldn't get money and go, oh, well, fuck this. I mean, maybe if I gave my notes, if there were people around me that I could like fool this off onto, like hand it off to them, and I knew they were
burn the research.
Why?
Because it's my research.
But you're not doing it no more.
That's right. I'm not doing it no more.
There are people that will benefit.
Don't let me hit the lottery.
You could save lives.
I could be in the middle of.
So glad.
If I was a fireman, I would drop the bitch in the burning building and walk out.
Podcast is over. Podcast is over. This is the partner that I have.
You know, like the Simpsons opening when he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm done," and like leaves a radioactive bar right there. That's me.
Jesus,
I'm done. Quitting time.
Adam, what have you been doing this past week?
I have been. It's been like 3 days.
I know. I'm saying we can't really pull the wool out of everybody.
It's like, what have you been doing the last week? It's been like 5 fucking minutes.
We can't pull the rug from under everybody. Yeah, it's only been a few days.
Yeah. No.
Again, because our schedule is the way it is, we don't know what day we're recording. We don't know how many days are going to be between. And I've actually just been fortunate that the way that we've recorded, I've been able to do the editing and post it almost the next day. That may not be the case all the time.
Yep.
So this just happens to be.
Greetings from the past.
Yeah, Woo! This is episode 2, but this is like 3 to 4 days after the fact. 3. So you have nothing. There's nothing you can talk about you've done over the past 3 or 4 days that's somewhat game related.
That's somewhat game related. Well, I have still completely and utterly failed to pre-order Mass Effect Andromeda.
Good.
Fuck you.
Good. Save that money and go buy Zelda Breath of the Wild that you have.
I will not
to play with.
Buy that game just because you want me to get it so bad.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't get me started.
Don't hurt me like that,
man. Don't get me started.
Don't hurt me like that. No, I actually did talk to my wife about it. She might grab it.
Good. This is something that this is.
I'm like that. I'm like one of the 10 people that bought a Wii U. By the way,
I have a lot of people around me that say, "Well, fuck it. I'm not buying a Switch just for Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'll just go get a Wii U because it's cheaper." Well, I went looking for a Wii U, and I think the Wii U's like $250. So I would probably just spend the extra $50 and just get a damn Switch. That's just me. But then again, you know what? I lied. I'm sorry. The one thing that turned me over that made me think, you know what? I'll probably get a Wii U. Actually, I'll just get on the Wii U is because I have an Xbox One. I have a PS4. Might as well get the Wii U and get the whole 8th generation out of the way.
The thing about it is that the Wii U is such a. I mean, it's such a small console. Like it's got such a small library. They killed it early, you know.
Right, because they realized it wasn't
so you're
doing
gonna.
anything.
It's gonna become niche.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking bought them.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you hold on to that thing in like 30 years, they'll be like, you know. You'll be like, wow, there's one of these in existence, and you have one. Yay.
The wave existence.
Yep, and the wave existence. And then it gets put into the Zophar modifier, which Abel, which is the first incarnation of Faye, actually was, he was like a little boy. He was like maybe 10 years old. He came into a contact with it, and that's why they call him the Contact. This is where you wanted to go? This is what you asked for. You want to
like
throw this kind of stuff out? I can go back. We can make this the Xenogears.
Okay,
cast.
Here's what we can do. If you're so good at talking and explaining shit, explain how Chrono Cross is related to Chrono Trigger.
It's not.
The end.
The end.
Game over.
Doesn't fucking exist. And if you fucking think it exists, you deserve death.
Oh my god. So there's no gaming aside from probably playing War Thunder some more, Witcher some more maybe.
I didn't even fucking get to play Witcher. I feel so bad.
You've had a hectic weekend. You've had a busy.
We had a busy weekend.
You had a busy
working all
weekend. That's
through the weekend.
understandable. Well, I guess I'll talk about mine then. Came home last night after work, and not just having a podcast pushes you a little bit, because I was like, man, I really don't want to have to go through like 3 weeks not beating this fucking boss. And every time Adam's like, so what did you do, Michael? I'm like, I'm still stuck on the flame.
You didn't do shit, did you?
I'm still stuck on the flame work.
You still stuck on the flame?
Yeah, and everybody be like, man, this fucking guy, he's on episode 7 now, and he hasn't beat this boss.
You still stuck on it?
No. Came home last night, fired it up, and I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to do this shit an old-fashioned way. I'm going to do this the fucking bitch route. I'm going to go to this level that I know where I can get some souls at. I'm going to go through this bitch over and over again. I'm going to grind out some souls for an hour or two. I'm going to buy a shit ton of healing herbs, and I'm just going to poke and heal myself. Jab a little bit and heal myself. Well, that's actually kind of a lie. The first thing I did was go fight them. I went and fought him. I was like, let me just go see. Maybe there's something I'm doing right. Maybe I can fuck around. I died to him twice, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Time to just go buy a bunch of healing herbs and just bitch this shit out. Check this shit out. So I bought the herbs. I spent like 2 hours, hour and a half, I don't know, some long arbitrary number. Got all this farming done. All these healing items bought. I went back down there and fought this dude. I don't know what the fuck thing I did different. I didn't take off any more damage, but I just had a easy fight with him.
So you just got in the zone.
Yes, I got in the zone.
You entered the zone, and the only way you could have lost was to hand someone else the control.
This is where it gets golden. This is just another staple in when me and Adam tell you guys you got to play one of these games. You got to, because shit like this.
You finally just grabbed your nuts and spit. That's what happened. Sure.
Shit like this can happen for you folks. So I went down this place, fought this boss, and I was doing chip damage here and there, and I've done fought him like 40 times now, so I got most of his patterns down. Well, this boss, apparently, I just didn't pick up on this. He actually has like 3 phases. The first like half, when you get down his energy to halfway, he does like more things. He does another one different attack maybe, or he gets a little bit harder. When you get him down to almost a quarter energy, he fucking flame on, and he gets like there's fire all around him, and he gets like really fast and really aggressive. I've only seen that form one time. I remember him getting him past half health a couple times, but I never remember seeing that shit.
Yeah,
he did that and was all over me. So I'm backing up, and I remember now I'm fat rolling, by the way, because I haven't changed my armor, so I can't like zip out of the way and juke behind him. If I have to roll out of the way, I just chunk. And hopefully I move. And I guess I was timing the rolls just right and timing the evasion just right. And I was just reading what he was doing, and I was fucking jabbing. And mind you, again, I'm only taking a little bit of damage at a time. So this is a long fight. And I get him behind a wall, and I started using the walls and the pillars to get at him. And I fucking beat him. I put the controller down. You know, my wife wasn't home, but I put my controller down, and I was like, yes! I stood up in my chair. I was like, yes! Yeah! And that right there, I was like, this is why I play these games. Right here. Right here. Because there's so many moments just like this that we'll probably go over when we talk about Dark Souls and whatever.
But you you had that feeling of satisfaction when you finally got it.
This is what we say when we tell you folks that this game is rewarding. It is designed to beat the fuck out of you. It's designed now, and I've noticed, I'm going to get to the second boss I fought, which goes into more explanation of what I'm about to tell you. There's so many bosses and enemies and areas in this game that are specifically designed with that, what people don't like is the test it out and die nature. There's a phrase for that. I don't know why I'm brain farting.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. Yes, there are some bosses and enemies and areas in Dark Souls, and now I'm seeing Demon Souls too that are going here. You didn't know about that pit being there, did you? Well, go back in. Okay, you moved around the pillar. You moved around the pit. I didn't know about that ball gonna fall on your head. I don't like those. I'm not a big fan of those. But this game has bosses that are just they're just gonna fucking bum rush you. They're gonna be like, bitch, you're in a demon's realm. You're in my lair now, and I'm just gonna fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
And there are gonna be many times where you're like, I don't fucking get it. The more you persevere, the more you just keep going back and butting your head at it, you slowly get better. Not only do you slowly get better as I know if he put his left leg down, he's going to do this attack. You also get better because your reaction time gets better. You just become a better gamer. You become a better
nostrils
fighter.
Begin to flare.
Yes.
Your pupils dilate.
And when it
sweat
finally
begins to bead
clicks,
on your forehead.
When it finally clicks and you beat him, it's a satisfaction. This game is so motherfucking rewarding, and I love it. I love all of them. The second boss, right after the Flame Lurker, his name is, I'm pretty sure you remember this guy, was the Dragon God.
Yep.
Now, so I walk into this boss's area, and I'm like, oh, this is, for one, I beat the Flame Lurker, and I went and took a break. I just went and ate some food. I went and relaxed, fucked around the internet for a minute, and I was like, all right, cool. Let's go see what the next, because the main thing that draws me in this game is when I beat a boss, I want to go explore the new area. Because I've got that, like in Dark Souls, I've got that, oh, I'm in a new place feeling. Let me go see what's up. So I beat the Flame Lurker, fucked around for a while. I came back and I was like, all right, got about an hour or so before I go to bed. Let me go see what let's go see what like Area 2-3 is like. It's a fucking downward staircase that leads to a fog gate. I was like, no, you guys ain't throwing a boss at me already. There's got to be some caverns I got to go through or some shit. And they was like, nah, bruh. And I went through the fog gate and it was Dragon God. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Am I about to get my shit?
Welcome to Demon Souls.
Welcome to Demon Souls, bitch. You don't get no fun. Let's go trouncing around the castle.
Like, oh, you were looking forward to that this time.
Dragon God.
We sensed it.
Yep. So, yeah.
And there's that away from you. That little hope, that little flame of enjoyment.
Did.
They were like, nah.
It did.
Nah.
Because, see,
gone.
It tricks you. Because there are times in this game where you'll have to go through a fog gate and you're like, man, you're tense. You're like, man, okay, let me check my heals. Do I got enough items to heal with? Maybe I got some souls. Maybe should I burn them and go level up? And you step through the gate and you're just going through the area.
Yep.
All right, we'll just go sit. And then you're like, oh, there wasn't a boss. Whew. So you come to another fog gate and you're like, now I don't know. Am I about to go to an area? Well, I don't know. This is a big fucking fog gate. Oh, let's go through it. They're like, nah, just another area. You're like, man, fuck.
Yep.
So you finally get to a fog gate and you're like, where's this going to lead me? Maybe down there where that treasure is. Not boss, bitch. And you're like,
you motherfucker.
You son of a bitch. So, yeah, this third boss has some very cool, you have to react to certain things. You don't just go attack this boss. You have to use like these spears in the area to attack him.
Yeah.
Getting to the spears is a challenge because it's a fucking dragon god. He can reach out with his fists, and if he touches you, you're fucking dead. So I finally beat him too. I got 2 bosses done in one night. Felt really good. But nothing beats the Flame Lurker. The reason why nothing beats the Flame Lurker is because I lost to that motherfucker like 40, 50 times. Mm-hmm. So when you finally beat him, you're like, yes.
You feel like you accomplished something.
Yes. No tutorial came along and told me how to beat him. I didn't get hey, you can press this button and turn in kind of like a god mode and make it easy. Nothing. I just had to fucking get good.
Yep.
That's what people mean when they say get good in this game. And I'm telling you, getting good has its just rewards. So, yeah. I haven't played anything else. It's just been Demon Souls. I'm not necessarily trying to steamroll through it. It's just a game that I'm really enjoying, and I want to play through it as much as I can. I'd be playing it right now if it wasn't for doing the podcast. But
is that right?
Good stuff.
You just be playing it right now?
Oh, man, I would.
You just like, fuck it. Just fuck Adam, huh?
No, I mean, I'm saying, but I'm doing the podcast right now, so I'm going to play. I mean,
I'd rather be playing this, but I got to do this fucking podcast.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it.
Is that where you at?
Yeah. You're taking away from this gaming thing is taking away from.
Welcome to the final episode of End of Time Cast, everybody.
We made it to episode 2. The true feelings came out.
Mike got a mic, and now he doesn't need to do the podcast anymore.
Yeah. Now that I spent the money on the microphone, now it's time to kill it.
Yep.
Yeah.
motherfucker.
The fuck am I gonna do with a microphone in my house without doing a podcast?
You're gonna be like, talk to the microphone.
I should call you through Skype on my and be like, hey, how you doing? Yo, fuck you! You can rub your fucking mic in my face, you son of a bitch.
You should use that on games. You should just be like, you're playing like an online game. And you're like, hey,
yeah,
sounds sexy.
Yeah.
You're like looking over that big thing while you're trying to play the game.
In all honesty, we're gonna have to have a Final Fantasy 14 versus World of Warcraft fight one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna be something.
It's gonna happen.
I really think you've already went to the light side. You don't play MMOs anymore.
I don't play any MMOs anymore because
Tell me.
asterisks.
Yeah.
I don't have time for it.
Tell the audience so they know that you don't fuck around. Tell them a little bit about your Warcraft history, your World of Warcraft history. That way they know that you're not just
about what, like the raiding guild I was in?
Anything. Just tell them you're trying to tell somebody what you mean when you say you play World of Warcraft.
No, I was a progression raider.
Mm-hmm.
We would basically on patch day, whenever the new raids would drop, we were first in.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go in, get our shit. We all had our stuff up.
How long did you play? How long have you been playing?
I want to say about since 09 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say so. However many years that is, about 8. Holy fuck, it's been that long.
I wonder if a buddy of mine is listening to this right now because he was also a World of Warcraft avid fan guy, and he played it. I think he played it since inception. I think he played it since beta. I think that was his tout to fame.
Yeah,
and he also doesn't
got me beat.
He also doesn't play it anymore. It's just life happens. So.
Yeah, you got stuff to do, and WoW is demanding. WoW's like, yep, you want to be progression raider, you got to keep everything on point.
Yeah.
So you've got to have your pots, your flask, your, all your shit's enchanted, all the best stuff you can possibly have at your eye level, and you got to be ready to roll when you get in there, and just don't have time for it anymore.
I'll say this on my side that the first MMO that I ever played was Phantasy Star Online. I played it for the Dreamcast. I played it for a while, but that game was so different than what MMOs are now because people could drop you items, and they would be just random people would be in a lobby or something, be like, they just walk up to you and they just drop an item on the floor and you pick it up and it's like, hey, here's 9999999 gold. You just max out your gold for no because they had like Game Sharks or whatever, and they could just duplicate things, and they're like, this game, there's no difficulty. Here you go. You can have all you want. I was like, cool. I did play Final Fantasy 11 for a while. No, actually, in comparison, no. I only played Final Fantasy 11 for a total of like 6 or 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why I quit Final Fantasy 11. It's kind of the reason why I quit Final Fantasy 14. I took a break from 11 for, I think, 2 months. And I put like 38 games under my belt in that time. I just played games, and it had a fucking blast.
Yep.
Well, when I went back to Final Fantasy 11, I didn't put hardly any games under my belt because all of my time went to Final Fantasy 11, and I eventually just went, man,
you got no time for anything else.
I'm done with
That's
that.
why I'm so far behind on Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Is I was raiding. Yeah, you can't play Witcher and raid at the same time.
There's so many different types of gamers that play like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy and etc. There are you don't have to do that. You could just be a person if you just enjoy going through the dungeons, doing your dailies, and you're fine. That's fine. You're looking at maybe an hour.
You got that hunger.
Yeah, you maybe have an hour and a half of your day lost. Big deal. But when you have that hunger, when you want to be a raider or you
when
want
you're
to
like,
progress,
you know what? I refuse.
Yeah.
I refuse to be shittier than him.
Yeah.
I want to walk around with the best stuff.
Yeah. And it draws you. And you're talking hours upon hours of every day to grind and do these things, and
even just being a cut above the average person.
Right.
Makes you feel good.
And Adam and I both have full-time jobs. He has a wife and children to tend to, so he has a full-time job, and he's got a job when he gets home. So every time an MMO expands his mind and wants him to do more, that's just less and less time for any other game to come around. Like that's really bad when you get done doing the things that you quote-unquote have to do in an MMO, and you're like, well,
that's actually the problem.
It's fucking 10:30 at night, and I got to go to bed at 11. I'm not going to play a game for
the problem
half an
is
hour.
I would get home, And this is when I knew I had to quit. I would get home and I would play, ignoring it. I would get done with every fucking other thing I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start playing, and I would play from the time I got home till the time I went to bed, and I still wasn't making the time.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, well, I just don't have enough hours to throw into this. I can no longer meet the requirements.
Yep.
And that just means that I need to stop.
Yeah.
That's what this means, because I can't donate any more time.
It's not a quit out of anger. It's not a quit out of hatred. It's not a quit out of dislike. It's not a knock against the game. It's actually a credit to the game that the game has so much shit to give you, and you're like, I can't balance all the plates.
I can't actually be this sick nasty warrior that I want to be.
But I will say I will say in your defense, I've actually used you as a pedestal for some people. When people tell me in a game like Final Fantasy 14, man, I ain't got time to raid. Motherfucker, I know a guy who has a full-time job, a wife, children, and he was a raider in a fucking top guild of raiding in World of Warcraft. You don't just get up there and keep that position and show up, every,
I wasn't in like
3
method
weeks.
or anything, but
no, but still, people,
we were doing good.
People who play these games know the level of dedication that it takes. So when you say that I still had a pretty much average Joe life that involved children, and I still was up in, the upper echelon, not the top tier, the cream of the crop, but I was up. I was doing the damn thing.
I could have if I quit my fucking job. I'd make method the next week.
Yeah.
But it would, it requires that next level of dedication that I just can't do.
Yeah.
That you had to turn pro for that. And I would say I'm semi-pro.
Yeah. And plus, the longer you stay out, man, you want to go back in. The games do.
The problem is, though, the longer you stay out, the more you're like, man, every second you're not in the game, you're like, what am I losing? What am I losing? What am I losing?
Yep.
What am I losing? What am I losing?
What thing is really hot right now, but a year and a half from now is going to be so watered down because they just want you to get through it that you're not going to be able to experience it.
Correct.
You go through the new dungeon in 14 right now, you're like, oh, wow, the colors, the enemies, the tactics. It's cool. Well, 2 years from now, they're like, yeah, man,
just shit stomp this real quick.
Let's just do this as a requirement. You need to do this dungeon one time. You're going to do this with people that are severely over-leveled, and you're just going to through it, and then you're done. You're not going to, man, I
not
shit
only that, but you look at it, and you're missing your chance. Like, the way WoW works is the classes go like they have peaks and valleys, and there are times when it's the warriors are just shit stomping everybody in damage, and there are times when the fucking priests are out healing everybody, and if that's your class, man, and it's your time to shine right then, and you ain't playing,
Yep.
you come back, and like any good raider, you're gonna have 2 or 3 different classes and specs you play, but when it's the one you like and you're just like, man, I missed it.
Yep.
I could have been playing 6 months ago, and warriors were top DPS. I don't think they actually were, but I could have been playing and just completely shit stomping stuff, but now I'm just kind of ho humming it now.
Also, rewinding just a bit, going back to 11, and it may have been specifically 11. You listen to this and see if Warcraft has or had this problem. One thing that I could not stand about 11 was that when I got through the jobs that I wanted to, I found Samurai, and I stuck with Samurai. I loved Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is really only the people that played 11 back in. We're talking back in the day. We're talking about like 2003, 2004 era 14. So this is way back in the day.
Yep.
Nobody liked Samurai because Samurai was good sort of on its own, but it just didn't pair up good enough with others. Other jobs did really well in a party situation.
Yeah.
Samurai was like, you do good enough. But I could have this thief/ninja that can do way fucking more damage and can also tank if I need him to. So I would sit in fucking Bastok, which was my favorite fucking hometown, my home automata, and just have my fucking flag up all day. Just, hey, I'm looking for a party. Nobody would pick me. I'd see the thief ninja get picked. this mage get picked, thief ninja get picked, thief. And it's like, man, and then I'd ask people, man, what am I doing wrong? Because I have gone out of my way to make these skill things and these macros and everything set up to where I can play with anybody. I can link with you just fine. They're like, yeah, but that's not the point. We have people that just out damage you. We have people that outdo this. So pretty much, unless you play these 2 to 3 specific job and sub jobs, we don't want to play with you.
Oh man,
I'm like, I don't want to fucking play a game.
Problem. That was actually part of my problem the last time we went to WoW.
I hate that.
Oh man, look.
Are you playing this job? No.
They had
you.
We had Fury Warriors. I read up. I did my little pre-reading before the new expansion came out, and I was like, okay, looks like Fury's going to be the big shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Fury's going to be where I'm going to need to go. I got in there, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go all through this thing. I'm going to go Fury, 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 and I leveled up Fury. I got all my stuff. I had the rotation down. I had the artifact power. Now, the entire time you're doing quests and stuff, you're gaining artifact power.
Right.
Okay. So I'm leveling up these weapons, these ancient artifact weapons, and they're getting more powerful. I'm unlocking more skills and more damage for these weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And right before we go into raids, the fucking meta flips, and it turns out that that arms was actually coming out ahead.
Oh.
And so I needed to switch to arms.
Oh man, no.
So nah, brah. So I went overtime, farming AP to get these fucking arms weapons up, and before I even got to use them, they nerfed it.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, and everybody else just kept pushing that same spec and getting farther ahead on this one thing. I went start over, get it back up to where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah.
So I was completely screwed.
You.
I was like, oh god damn it.
That is one credit, and I have respect for World of Warcraft. Never played it. We joke about it, but I really don't ever bash it in my head. I have a respect for a fellow MMORPG player and a fellow MMORPG period. But it's one thing that I did notice about 11. That problem that I had doesn't exist in 14. Yeah. You cannot have a raiding party that is like 1 tank, 2 healers, and 5 black mages. That shit don't work. You have to. The game forces you to a degree to mix it up.
Oh well, no, you still have to mix it up in WoW. It's just to play optimal, and especially for progression, optimization is goddamn king.
Oh yeah.
When you're at the bleeding edge, you want every point of damage.
It's professionalism.
You need to be on point. Your rotation needs to be there. You need to have your gear there. You need to have your skills there. You need to be able to, not take unnecessary damage.
Right.
So you need to know everything, and everything has to be prime.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And when that doesn't happen, it's just, you start pissing people off because you've got 20 other guys or 19 other guys that are sitting there like, dude, we're depending on you to make sure you don't fuck this up. And when you fuck this up, you fuck over everybody else.
Yep.
So, that optimization it has to happen.
And you never want to be
you don't want to be the guy that's slowing the raid down.
You don't want to have that feeling where like, man, we're wiping, and they're like, yeah, because of you. It's like,
we're wiping because people are taking unnecessary damage.
Yeah.
We're wiping because you dropped that in the middle of the group. We're wiping because, that's just basic raid 101 shit.
Yeah.
But when you're not putting out the damage you need to, that's a bad feeling, especially if that's what you do is damage.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, well, fuck.
Yep.
Fuck me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the guy above the healers on the damage chart. I'm sitting there
now we're speaking equal lingo. I know what you
yeah, it's just like, I need to just cry.
It's sad.
So
yeah, for the official record, I don't play 14 anymore. I've been round and around about it. It's just it run its course for me. And actually, again, giving just a little bit more history, this is how my mind works. Okay, when I quit 11, I said, man, I'm done. World of Warcraft looked good, and I heard all the things about it. And I played Warcraft 3 a few times. I've kind of knew the story, but it was so long ago, I've forgotten most of it. Again, I have a general respect for World of Warcraft. It's got some deep shit. But when I quit 11, I'm like, I said, I'm never going to another MMO. I cannot fucking do that. That is too much time, and it just ground me down. And I played just multiple games for years on end.
Mm-hmm. Then you decided to get back in, and instead of going to the one your buddy was on, you decided, fuck it, I'll play fucking Final Fantasy 14.
Did I know you when I played 14? When I started?
Yeah. I remember you being like, because I tried to talk you into playing WoW, and you were like, "No, man, I ain't got time for that. I played Final Fantasy 11, and I can't do that to my life again, man. Can't do that to my life again."
And then I was in the desert and saw a fucking picture of a character in Final Fantasy 14 riding a Magitech armor. And since like, Final Fantasy 6,
and
I was like,
that moment.
Fuck him. Can you ride a Magitech armor in World of Warcraft?
I got a progression raiding guild. You can come raid with me 6 hours a day.
I said, but Adam, I can ride a Magitech armor. And you were like, what's a Magitech armor? And then I killed you.
And then I would be like, Magitech armor, you can ride a Magitech armor in Final Fantasy 6 right now. Go play that. It's a better game.
So I started playing it and I had a good time with it, but once the burn shit wears into you, man, you're done.
Yeah.
When you realize you're coming home and you have to, man, when you sit down and start doing the math, okay, I have to go run this one dungeon 80 times to get this thing. That's part of it. Now I got to go run this other raid 40 times to get this thing, and I have to, and it becomes work. And that's never what I've wanted my MMO to be. That's never the experience that I've went for. If I was a competitive person and I really wanted to be up in the top echelon, that would be worth it and it would be justified, but I'm not that person.
When you get to the progression thing, it's Demon Souls.
Yes.
It's work.
Yep.
You fucking, everybody's just like, 19 people scream out in unison like, fuck yeah!
I've been through it. Again, for clarification, I led my raid group. I was a raid leader. I actually gave it to my wife when I left, and she leads it now. And
she
her and I both
straight in the ground, didn't she?
Yeah,
that's what you said.
Yeah, she ran it straight in the ground. You know, they're probably going to listen to this. They're going to hear this, and they're going to go, "Fuck you, Adam. We're good." But just like, and I'm sure you've had way more than me. But yes, I've had those moments where it's like, "Come on, guys, 2 more hit points, come on, oh, shit, another guy died. It's okay. Healer, need you over here. Do this, shit, chain this attack. There it is. It's not stopping. Yeah, and that's the moment where you have that jump up, throw your control in the air. Fuck yes. Months we've been at this shit for and you're going. We've had those. We got them recorded. Some of them. It's actually very fun.
But we have had. The most wipes I've ever had was 400.
Wow.
400 wipes.
Wow. I actually had a really good setup in mind too, because I was in 2 raid groups at once. And the other raid group that I was in was way ahead of my group. So they would do the further ahead raids and would teach me. I'd be learning. So when we got up to that level, I'm like, yeah, okay, here's what we do. But I don't know. Could you do 2 raid groups in World of Warcraft? I don't know.
What do you mean 2 raid groups? Say that again?
Could you be in 2 separate? Do you think you could be in 2 separate raid groups in World of Warcraft?
Well, for one, it'd have to be in your guild. So you'd have to, you couldn't like, I mean, you can always moonlight somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then your guild starts being like, well, maybe we don't want to give you gear. Asshole.
Yeah, see.
Because you gonna fucking jump ship is what this seems like.
14 has a little bit more casual stuff than that. If you can devote the time, I mean, like, one group, we strictly run on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other group, we run on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You know, there's no time conflict.
No,
if neither one of the groups are hardcore, like, no, we're pumping this shit to 7 days a week, you're not really, you're not fucking with each other.
The way it works in WoW is you have your raid days, or the way it worked in our guild in WoW, but you had your raid days, and every day you weren't raiding, you were farming.
Right.
You were farming on your main, busting your ass to get pots, flasks, money for pots and flasks if you couldn't make them yourself. You know,
That's the same thing in 14, man. You had to go grind off on your own, and man,
well, I mean, even
need to have
while
the
you're in the
gear.
middle of raiding, you already got your shit.
right,
You might have better gear than 90% of the fucking people out there,
right,
but you're still grinding because you still need to get shit.
mm-hmm.
You know, you need to make sure you got food, you got all this other stuff, and you're just, you know,
right.
can't. It never stops.
You can't slack off, and it really
Can't slack off.
I don't know the levels of like rating in World of Warcraft, but
Well,
you could be very casual in raid.
You can be very casual in WoW. WoW will let you walk in and spank the boss if you want to.
Well, that's not what I mean.
Walk in and just sneeze on it and it'll fucking die.
I'm sure this has to be the same in World of Warcraft, but you can go if you
If you just
wanted
want
to
to see the
start
story or whatever.
No, if you just wanted to start in the middle of where the raids are, you could start there. There's already 3 or 4 sets ahead, and the bleeding edge is at the newest. But you could start something like these raids. This is like 4-year-old raids.
Oh no, you can go to the fucking raid that's out right now, and you know if it's been posted to LFR, you can go through there and shit stomp the last boss of the expansion.
Yeah.
Just go rub your fucking dick in his face and he'll
You
fall
and dick
over
rubbing
for you.
faces.
But you won't see the whole story.
Right. Yeah.
There's a little bit they leave for Mythic. Just a little bit.
And I guess it's because of the
little bit.
youth of 14. Back in when I started, the newest raid was out, of course, and it was just one step ahead of the very first raid. So when I started with the first raids, I was behind the game, but I was only a little behind the game. As opposed to right now, if somebody started brand new and they said, I want to do the very first tier, the very first raid, and work my way up. You are way old. Nobody even does those. They don't even farm with them anymore. Nobody cares about those anymore.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, they did change
time
them.
Walking and stuff like that.
They
for
did
old
change them
dungeons
where
and
they
raids.
gave certain items that were dropped, and you would go back to pick up the item. But I'm saying, like, if you strictly went just for raiding purposes, if you just wanted to get the story of the raid, there's like 4, 5, 6 tiers of raids now, so you're way behind the raiding power curve if you started from scratch. But they, just like WoW, they have a way where if you wanted to grind up and get to like level, I don't know, 80 to 150 or whatever, you could. You would just miss all that shit, or you would go through it at a blinding speed and you might not retain it. So it's just my advice to people: if you want to get an MMO, do it. Have fun, take that experience, have it for yourself. But I would recommend find an MMO that's kind of just starting, because you if it's halfway through or more, you're just gonna hand wipe so much stuff, as opposed to the people that were there from day one and got to experiment. I remember the first time this dragon showed up, and you're like, yeah, I never got to see that.
Yep.
I just
there are
pushed
people
the
that
button
will
and got
never
my
know
character to level
how
60.
bad and for how long Stormwind was fucked up,
Yeah.
even though the Horde's better.
Mm-hmm.
But
I can't make that judgment. I don't know.
yep, you go in there. You used to be able to go through. You go into Stormwind and the Cataclysm where Deathwing had landed, you see giant claws and the statues were all destroyed. And then the next expansion, you saw them working on the statues. The expansion after that, they finally fixed the statues and they started working on something else. And now, can't tell fucking
And see, that's what I mean. That's awesome to be in there and watch the steps happening, as opposed to the guy that comes after you 4 years from now and everything is just.
And he's just
what
like,
it
wow,
is.
there's a district over here. It's like a big park.
And you're like, man,
There was a
you know
fucking hole in the city there for, I don't know, 4 years, but, you know. And before that, there was like a stockade.
I am not and will not ever knock an MMO, because there is an appeal there. There is a fun. There's a social aspect to it. There's a if you want it, there's a rating aspect to it where you want to be really good and really awesome, and there's a partying aspect where you and other friends are doing things together and you're conquering the enemy. There's a lot of great things about MMOs, but
They will suck your fucking soul out.
The more that you get into it, it's a dangerous game. The more you do it, the more it's going to start taking more and more from you.
You never finish an MMO. That's
Yeah.
the thing. There is no finish line.
That hits a nail on the head for me. That was also the last one, is that when I go play a game, when I spent that 2-month break and put those 37, 38 games underneath my belt, I finished games.
Yeah.
So I repeatedly had that.
You closed the book on something.
I closed it and moved on. If I want to go back later, I can go back later. But when MMO,
I can reread a book.
when an MMO, it's always going more. Now they do a decent job of giving you a little bit of closure, but there's always this overarching.
There's another hill on the horizon.
This is the little ending we give you. There's still a huge ending, and it's going to take expansions after expansions and they're never going to end it.
Yeah.
Until they decide this series is done. Now
Although I
we're going
will
to put
say
the
that
final
the Demon Hunter
expansion.
class is cool.
Mhm.
It is so fucking cool. It's by far this thing has wings. It can double jump and it can sprint twice.
Oh shit!
It's like by far the most mobile class ever put in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like hunters used to be like, "Oh, look at me, I can do all this shit." The demon hunters are like, "I move to attack."
Oh shit!
You know, and so it got real. Yeah, one of the coolest ideas they could. I this just running around and fucking with that class. I would go play that game right now.
And
to
see,
do that.
even with that appeal like that, the desire for you to go back is not like
It's not enough to pull me
because
in.
you know when you get back in it, it's like
Yep. And the thing is I named my demon hunter Propared. Propared.
Now your demon hunter character is going to get.
But Illidan was always
doxed.
like, "You are not prepared," but I am prepared. Get it?
That's good. That's
Get
good.
it?
Fucking nerd. I'm World of
Fucking
Warcraft
nerd. Fucking wow. He's like, "You actually are prepared."
I like that.
See?
It's good.
He's always telling
MMOs.
everybody else they weren't me. So, let me ask you a question, man.
Okay.
You ever had a moment in a video game that just like stuck with you? It's like really, really sad.
Like an emotional, a sad moment.
No, like just an emotional moment. Really.
Man, yeah, I've had some sad moments in games. I ain't gonna lie. I have no problem in admitting that I've shed a tear in a movie or two, but I think it just as much need to be said that yeah, I've had moments that teared me up in a game. There were moments that impacted me. Yeah, there were.
Fucking nerd.
I mean, that's sure, but I mean,
Yeah, fucking nerd.
there's music that can do that. There are books that can do that. There's movies, obviously, that can do that. There's TV shows that can do it. Yeah, video game is video
the
games
moment
are a
that really
form of
got
media,
me
and
is when it was, believe it or not, it was a Call of Duty game.
that's understandable. What was it? Tell me about it.
You were at this funeral and it said press X to pay respects. And I was like, man, this is some heavy shit right here.
I'm just giving you a look. I thought you meant like legit, like scripted moment, and you're like, no, you're just fucking around. You're fucking around. No, not what I thought you were going for.
No. It's like really sad, really slow salute. No, yeah, buddy, I'm gonna miss you.
Oh, the slow salute. Oh, so now you're talking about Metal Gear Solid 4, right?
No, Metal Gear Solid 4 was when like they had to fight on top of the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Their shirts off.
and their shirts were off and their bodies were glistening. It was a different type of emotion.
You trying to tell us something now, Adam?
I'm trying to tell you that there's sweaty, glistening bodies just battering each other,
Two battle-hardened men
just pounding
beating each other. Just
pounding.
Another
God,
reference.
there's-
So it's gonna be a thing now. Every reference, we're just gonna reference it.
yes,
Okay, so he's gonna get more popular shit than we are.
that's right.
They're like, hey, I heard about this
yeah.
this pounding it. What is that from?
God, we're never gonna say who it was.
Yes, I have had some very sad moments that I can remember in video game history. Once I think about them, other ones come to mind, but the first one that I remember, the first one that comes to mind for me has no impact on you, has no effect on you whatsoever. I understand that. But in Resident Evil 2...
Oh God,
What? That was a good game.
No, the fuck it wasn't.
You're
Resident
telling
Evil
me
2,
when you played...
Everybody else liked Resident Evil 2, but Resident Evil 2 to me was like the turning point for the series where I knew that I was going to hate it.
It was your
for
Final
the rest
Fantasy.
of all time.
It was your Final Fantasy 8
It was my Final Fantasy 8.
or Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7 was the beginning of the end.
So 7 was the turning point for you?
7 wasn't the turning point.
8.
7 was the clear... It was the turning point for them. It wasn't the turning point for me. I didn't realize. We've gone off and switch gears twice here rapidly, but
Your fault.
7, no, it's not.
We press extra
No, my
salute.
fault. Anyway, so 7 was where they started putting in all this fucking bullshit. Okay, and it doesn't. You have to realize it as an afterthought. But 7 was where they were like, okay, we're gonna start putting belts on shit just randomly. We're gonna start making shit look fucking weird, and
God, this is
completely
gonna be an episode.
unlike any of normal person would ever wear. And then 8, they just kicked it up like, okay, well now we got a dominatrix chick and some chick that wears like high shorts and fucking nunchucks.
Adam, he had a motherfucking sword that
Look,
had a gun
it evolved
hilt.
into a chick that wore nothing but belts as a dress.
And she was cool.
No, the fuck she wasn't.
had big old jubblies.
Her big old
She could
jubblies were
she had-
canceled
she
out
was
by
a-
the fact that she was just fucking a shit character in a shit game.
Oh my God. We are, Adam, for your sake, we are going to have a Final Fantasy bashing episode.
Oh
just
yeah,
for
well,
you.
every episode's a Final Fantasy
Because
bashing
you
episode.
have at length explained to me why you turned against that series, but
yeah.
nobody on this podcast knows exactly how hard that turn was.
Oh,
They need to know.
It was straight up like, oh god.
If we again tangent, yes, I liked Final Fantasy VII. I was indifferent to 8. I did play through it once or twice, but it never like gripped me. It never made me hate it, but it never made me like it
Final
either.
Fantasy 8 made me hate it.
9, I was like, you guys are trying to come back to form. It's kind of okay, but it didn't stick with me. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. 10, it looked better. But again, I could take it or leave it. For all the battle system, I thought was pretty cool in 10. But again, it was not like, wow, Final Fantasy is just leading the pack. 11 was an MMO, so that's its own story, which we just talked about. 12, I fucking loved. 13, I bought 13 actually when I went to Texas when I was doing that training in Texas, and I bought that thing. I'm pretty sure that's another one, like another RPG we'll talk about someday. I made it all the way close to the end of that game, and I did not beat it because I was like, that as the point I'm getting at is your turning point was 7, or it was pretty much around 8.
Yeah.
Mine, I gave it all the way till 13.
7 was fine. I was completely fine with 7.
You should be, because it's a good
all
game.
the way through 7. It's when 8 hit, and I looked back at 7 and said, oh no, it's like Game of Thrones where like the motherfucker gets stabbed at the wedding and then you start thinking about all the shit that just happened.
Are you trying to
so I
tell
look
me-
back at Final Fantasy 7, it's like, look at my belts.
Are
And I'm
you
like,
trying to tell
what the
me-
hell's going on here?
Are you telling me legit that 8 made you look back and not like 7?
8 made me look back and not like some of the directions they took going into 7.
Okay.
But when I look back even further at the concept art for Final Fantasy 6 and for fucking Final Fantasy
no.
4
Don't you do it.
and for Final fucking Fantasy, okay, then I realized that these people were just retarded the entire time. And I never noticed it until the fidelity of the games got enough to where they could make these ridiculous fucking costumes come to life. And that is when I realized that I will never play this fucking series
Adam,
again.
it is unfair to just judge a
It
whole
is
entire
fair as
gaming
fuck
series based
to
off their
judge them.
costumes. Come on.
It is completely fair.
The guy had a fucking sword that had a gun hilt on it. Come on. That's cool.
Come on.
His buddy had a
Cletus.
scar across his
And then he had a scar on the opposite eye, and then when they kissed, scars touched each other.
Adam, there was a fucking airship that was designed after
There
a
was
dragon.
an airship that's internal layout did not make any motherfucking sense whatsoever. You go left, and then left again, and then up, and then left, and you came out in the basement in the bottom right of the fucking ship,
Hey,
and
think
you're like,
about
what
Chrono,
the fuck
think
am
about,
I doing
Think
here?
about Chrono Cross right now. You're thinking about it. Just think about
fuck
Chrono
you.
Cross.
Fuck you.
It is so easy to put you in a whirlwind of hate. I just got to talk about Final Fantasy 8 and Chrono Cross, and you just want to fucking kill everything.
The foam starts coming out of my mouth.
It took, and look, because this is rather topical right now around this period. Final Fantasy 13 was the turning point for me. I said, nope. I made it all the way through. I don't even remember where the fuck I stopped playing, but I'm pretty sure it was toward the end of the game. I said, I'm done.
Oh no, I knew the exact moment I gave up on Final Fantasy.
Wow, the moment you
I know the moment I gave up on
today's
Final Fantasy.
topic. When did Adam give up on Final Fantasy?
I can tell you
the moment.
I can say,
that's not the topic today, folks.
The slow.
We'll get to it.
The slow decay. Final Fantasy 8. I was like, man, I fucking did not like that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, they put out a bad one. Let me play Final Fantasy 9. Man, the entire time, man.
This is before man.
And then I got to the end, and I didn't even beat it. I told you about this. I got the fucking arc.
Yeah,
I finally got the fucking arc summon. I got to the
you.
last little place where you pitch a tent, and I just fucking stopped playing the game. But I was still optimistic. Like maybe they could turn this shit around. Then Final Fantasy X came out, PS2, and I was like, all right, this is it. This is the moment.
This is your chance.
This is where it's gonna fucking shine. And I started playing the game. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. He's anarching. Okay, it doesn't quite make sense. Yeah. And then he went, and I said, I threw the controller down. I got up. I ejected the disc and I flung it. And I've never played another Final Fantasy since then.
Wow.
Yep.
So as much as it's a meme,
they actually
as much
embedded
as
a little bit into my wall. There was like a notch in my bedroom wall where the CD or the DVD or whatever the fuck that thing was fucking printed on.
It was crafted on pure hatred.
No, it apparently was. No, that was Chrono Cross.
That wasn't a disc.
This was printed on fucking ridiculousness and tomfoolery.
That's actually very impressive that you can think of a moment in a game that specifically made you go, I am done.
Yep, I'm done. I can't.
So
that you said, oh well, I played Final Fantasy 11. I didn't.
What?
I didn't even look at it. They were like, it's coming out.
It's an MMO. I can understand you not, but 12.
Yep, 12 by default didn't get played.
Sucks.
I didn't even know it came out.
But
they were like, hey, look, Final Fantasy 12's out, and I was like,
now
oh, really?
This is where I can relate to you. I have told you that if 10 is your turning point, it sucks that you're never going to play 12. I mean, you are. You do owe me that,
10
by
was
the way.
my stop.
Adam and I, I'm going to put this on the podcast right now. Adam and I have a pact that I was to give him one RPG
in exchange for playing Final Fantasy 12.
I was to give him one RPG that he had never played before, even whether he wanted to play it or not, whether it was in his wheelhouse or not, and he would play it. And in turn, I would do the same.
So I picked something that I thought that he would get something out of, and he gave me a fucking Final Fantasy game, knowing that I hated him.
What he gave me, Xenogears, which I've already played through twice. But again, if any Joe Blow was to come up the street and just quiz me about Xenogears, I'd be like, I don't fucking know. There's a guy named Fei Fong Wong in it, and
he's really fucking cool.
And there's mechs, and there's a redheaded priestess kind of girl, I think. I don't fucking know anything, and I've been 100% through that game twice. So he said, okay, well, here's yours. You need to go through Xenogears again. And maybe now, in my 35-year age, maybe I can have things more set in concrete. Maybe I can understand it more, but I don't. I said, okay, mine for you is to go play Final Fantasy 12. And boy, you would think that I was asking this guy to go murder his wife. Like
that would be a lot easier than playing Final Fantasy 12.
Wow, that game is not. You don't know that game is not that bad. You just think it is because you hit your point. And the point I was getting to earlier is this is how I relate to everybody right now, is because there are a lot of legitimate gamers that they'll give Final Fantasy 15 maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10. They'll say from a gameplay perspective, it's actually very fun and it's worth playing. And I'm like, man, 13 was my point. 13 was the point where I said, I don't care what you throw at me. I'm not playing another one. They have burned that stake with me. Let me ask you this before we get back to the actual topic. Do you think whenever Final Fantasy VII Remake is come, do you think you'll play it? Man, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. You're not giving me a yes, but you are thinking about it. You're not coming flat out and going, no, I'll never play.
No. Final Fantasy VII was okay.
Right.
I didn't hate Final Fantasy VII. I hated what it represented to me, which was the point where the fidelity started becoming less about, well, let's tell a good story, and more about, let's do flashy bullshit.
Right.
Okay, and it became, for all the reasons people hate Sword Art Online. Okay, this is why. And Final Fantasy became that. It became less about being like, okay, well, let's tell a good story and let's shove our heads as far up our ass as we can and make it look really good.
Are you talking about Metal Gear Solid 2 right now?
I'm talking about Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Fuck you.
Yup.
You really want to go?
I parry a giant mech sword.
You want to go?
Grab the sword.
You want to go today?
Fling it and then run up
We
the
will
blade
go.
while it's still being hurled into space. And then cut it into pieces. And then cut those pieces into yet smaller pieces.
With the lights on the line. You don't know anything about that because you never played that game.
I don't.
God.
But, yeah.
No, Kojima is his head is up his ass, and
Kojima's head being up his ass is, Kojima knows his head is up his ass.
And he revels in it.
And he fucking relishes every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's the cool thing is you don't know what the fuck is going on in Metal Gear because it's just like, I'm really super realistic and then I'm just wacky as fuck.
Yep.
And then I'm back to realistic. It's like, what? No, Final Fantasy, no, it just stays out there in the retard zone. It stays out there. It stays out there. And then
you wanna try to get back on the topic now? Now that you've had your way of hating on Rising Revengeance.
You want to go ahead and talk about? You want me to go ahead and start talking about Resident Evil?
I mean
you want to talk about the turning point in Resident Evil? It was Resident Evil 2.
No, we can have
Resident Evil 2. With the exact moment you're talking about when Ada Wong was like, "I'm dead." She declared, and then she walked off the screen.
If all I'm going to do is tell you the times in my life when gaming moments were sad to me, and you go and just bash them, I'm not going to bring them up.
Good.
I'm going to pout.
Good. Fuck you.
I had reason. I have more to say about this. Okay. I'm not just going to talk about this moment and be like, it was sad, now your turn. I'm going to explain some things about this.
Okay, explain it.
So, spoilers. Well, we can't say spoilers because I said it earlier. When Ada Wong dies in Resident Evil 2, that was that was for some reason a prime moment in my life where that moment touched me. That was like, man, this is sad. This actually got to me. Now, there's a myriad reasons why this could have happened. Maybe the game story and the plot was just engineered that way, and they built it up just like a standard movie. And it was meant to be sad. It was directed and produced to be sad, so you felt sad. Maybe I'm a dumb victim of that stuff. I have no problem admitting that. When I look at it now, I played the game recently, and it didn't hit me because it's already had that time in my life where I've had that sad moment. But back then, when I played Resident Evil 2, when I was, 14, 15, 16, when it got to that part in the game and she died, I was sad. Like it brought out an emotion for me. Now that's a good thing. Regardless if you or anybody else thinks it's a corny thing and it's just Capcom doing Capcom's thing, it registered an emotion to me that was not just, yay, I beat a game. It was not just man, fuck, I can't get past this point. It brought out sadness in me. Now, up until that point, there were movies that have done that. A couple of them, a few of them, and we may talk about that someday in some random movie thing. But that showed me that it added another level of gaming to me. It added another level of, hey, there's other emotions that this shit can bring out of me. So now, today, if I watch it, it doesn't strike me because I've already had that moment. I'm tempered to it. But back then when it happened, it affected me. And that was maybe, it might not even been the first, but it is, for me, a prominent moment where I can look at somebody and say, yeah, this moment brought out emotion in me. What about you? Do you have any that can make you say that a moment where you went, oh, man, that hurts me to my heart.
We talked about
sad.
Final Fantasy VII before.
Mm-hmm. And I mean legit moments,
we talked about Final Fantasy VII, and everybody knows what the fuck happened in Final
Spoilers.
Fantasy VII. Everybody knows Aerith got her.
Girl dies.
She got Wang paled by Sephiroth, and Cloud got cooked in front of her.
I'm sorry?
What?
Wang paled?
Yep. Sephiroth came down with his big dick and stuck it straight into her.
Can we do a side tangent where you explain to me what Wang paled is?
That's to impale someone with your wang.
I should have known this. Never mind. Tangent over.
Okay.
Move on.
So anyway, I actually didn't get any fucking response out of that whatsoever.
Neither did I. Now, why didn't you get response out of it?
Because it got spoiled about 3 months before I played the game.
What do you know? Same here. Some fucking dipshit on a fucking school ride was talking about it, and I just happened to be listening because I hear any video game conversation. They're talking, and they, oh yeah, and then Aerys died, and she got stabbed through the fucking back by Sephiroth. And I was like, I don't know if this should mean something or not, but I don't know if I should have heard that. And then when it happened in the game, I was like, oh, I bet that was very fucking important. I bet that was pretty impactful.
Yep. Well, not for me, but I did have a couple of big moments.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think the number one saddest thing was when Nanami died in Suikoden 2.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
Spoiler alert, Nanami dies in Suikoden 2. So for those of you that listened to the last podcast and we told you need to go play Suikoden, and it's it's in the top RPG list of his, Nanami's gonna die. Sorry. Please don't listen to this podcast. No, I mean listen to the podcast. Don't listen to this part. Tell us about it.
Okay.
Tell us about what happened. Tell us how it affected you.
The cool thing about like Suikoden 2, I told you it was the music. The music carried prominent themes throughout the entire game, the entire series, really. Mm-hmm. They do through repetition of musical tones and stuff like that. Every time Nanami came, she had her own theme, and every time she came on the fucking screen, she was high energy, excitable. The first time you meet her, you go to your house and you walk through the entire house. You don't fucking find her. She's not in any of the damn rooms. You walk outside and she comes, boom, tackles your ass and starts slamming your fucking head up against the ground. Like, oh my God, are you okay? And then she starts like checking you out and she's like, okay, I guess you're okay. And you can tell that like this guy had a really special relationship with his sister.
Right.
And, yeah, so you go through the entire game, and they go through some shit. And you end up where you finally, the main character meets up with his best friend in the game. Mm-hmm. And he's with Nanami, because Nanami's always with the main character. She can't even take him out of the fucking party. She's going.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's not even just there's not a lover relationship with these two. They're like brother and sister in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And they're inseparable. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
And so anywho, you go in there and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll go in here and meet my super duper friend. And you meet him, and another guy, third party, sees that, okay, well, you got this guy, both in the same place. I'm going to just fucking rain arrows on him and kill him. Mm-hmm. And so, Nanami notices it, and she goes, oh shit, arrows. And he goes, oh hell no. And, everybody, he's like, okay, well, don't worry, Grandpa taught me this technique where I can block fucking arrows. And she misses one. Mm-hmm. Plugs her right in the chest. And at that moment, I have this as my fucking screen on my goddamn PC. Mm-hmm. If you ever see my desktop, it's, they're both standing over her. They both turn around towards him and proceed to shit stomp this dude. It's a boss fight, but it's not losable.
Right.
And, so the boss rolls up in there and he gets completely shit stomped. Mm-hmm. But you can't, you get back and you have this badass doctor and he still can't fucking save her. Mm-hmm. And for the rest of the, the music in the entire castle changes. Mm-hmm. The entire castle changes, and where you could walk through and talk to, the shopkeeps and the et ceteras, and everybody was like, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. They changed every single person's dialogue.
It's in the game. It expresses a video game way of mourning.
Correct.
Where people in the game, just semi-random NPCs that you have in your castle that you rarely talk to, are like, they're paying respect to you.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean, if you need anything, I don't know what to say.
They don't even go that far. Most of them just go, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah,
they just say your name and dot.
Yeah,
and so you end up moving on, and there is a way to where you can get her to live.
Yeah, in typical Suikoden
But
fashion.
your first playthrough, you're almost guaranteed not to have that happen.
Yeah,
and it's really poignant, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it affects you.
That's an emotional moment for me.
Well, I can definitely think of another one for me. And keeping in the Suikoden mind frame, I really hope we don't shy away people that are like, oh, they're just going to talk about Suikoden for a while. Guys, we can't help it. This series is so good. Now, Adam will tout to you that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Gaiden are all great games. I personally, only 1 and 2 exist to me. That's a personal preference. But again, kind of like Dark Souls and Demon Souls, you play Suikoden 1, you're going to fucking love it.
You forgot Tactics.
Yeah, and Tactics. If you play Suikoden 2, you are slightly out of the loophole over the big overarching themes, but it's a great standalone game. Both these games are so good. If you're an RPG fan and you have some way to play these games, you owe it to yourself to do it. It's the equivalent to me of you walking through life and saying, well, I know I've never played Final Fantasy IV. It wasn't as popular as Final Fantasy VI, good as Final Fantasy VI, or as popular as Final Fantasy VII, but it's a damn good game. You owe it to yourself to play. But keeping in the Suikoden mind frame, a sad moment for me. Now, this happened later. This happened way after Resident Evil 2. But actually, probably not by many years, given the fact that Resident Evil 2 is on the PlayStation, and so is Suikoden 2. And Suikoden 1. In Suikoden 1, spoiler alert, the Guardian-type character of the main character's name's Tyr McDowell, the Guardian-type character. Now, you're talking about sworn Guardian, like they've been with you since you were a kid. They're your sworn protector. They're your family protector, all that good stuff. In this game, he does what you would think a Guardian would eventually have to do, and he lays his life down for the main character. If you're still listening to this and the spoilers, we're not going to try to go into severe detail. We want to give you an overarching experience of what goes on so you kind of have a grasp of why these things affected us the way they do. And Adam, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, and forgive me if I am. It's literally been over a decade since I played Suikoden 1. I know, shame on me. But I remember this shit when it happened. So the scene that I'm going to point to at the end, I know that one, but all the details that led to it, I may have wrong. I apologize. You go to storm a castle.
You go to storm a prison.
I'm sorry. See what I mean? I just have that. It's a building of some sort. You go to storm this prison. You go do your shit. You go to leave. You go to escape. Right at the last door, you get locked in. And the enemy starts pouring in these fucking deadly spores. And if you're in this room for too long, it's a theme it's a theme with this guy. He uses this as part of his tactics and his armies and everything. Mm-hmm. If you get by these, if you're exposed to them for too long, they are going to literally eat you alive and kill you. Yeah. Well, Gremio, the Guardian character, so to speak, of Tyr, looks around and says, hey, we can't get out. They're all like, we need to get out. Well, he goes and finds a latch and opens the door, but as soon as he let the latch go, the door shuts. And I don't even remember all the words that are said, but I do remember after you pointed it out to me, he kind of gets this, I know they're going to stop me, but he opens the door and shoves the main character out the door. Yep. Everybody follows because they're like, oh shit, are you okay? And he shoves him out the door and lets the door go. Now, you don't see it. Of course, the game doesn't show it to you.
It kind of pans away.
It pans away, but you know what's happening in that room. And they're banging on the door, and Tyr doesn't say shit. Tyr doesn't have dialogue in this game, so you are Tyr. That's the anchor for this game. You are him. And everybody's trying to get in, and they're like, no. And I think Gremio says a few things, doesn't he?
Yep.
He talks to him through the door.
He basically just says, have a good life, and
yep.
I can't even fucking see anymore.
Yep. Goosebumps when you said
they're eating my dick first. I stuck my dick in the spores. I don't know why I did that.
Then you had to ruin it.
damn.
No, he's talking to him through the door while he's dying. And then the camera pans away again. And eventually the door gets just unlocked and they can go in. And the scene that I remember, the one that gripped me the most, was when you go back in there, a telltale sign of Gremio was his uniform. I mean, he had some generic clothes underneath.
He had like a little green cape.
He had a green cape that he always wore, and he fought with a battle axe. And when Tyr goes into that room, on the ground is just the cape and just the axe. And now remember, this is sprite based, so they put detail in the way that they do it. But he walks up to it, he looks down at it, and he falls to his knees. And he falls to his hands, and then his head droops down to the floor. And then they fade away. No words. No crying emotional. There's some music to it, but there's no like big funeral scene. It's just him coming into this room and realizing the guy that's been by his side since he was a baby is dead. And they show that in a sprite form, and it impacts you. And I remember that. I mean, even right now, just goosebumps thinking about it. It hit me. It was designed to be sad, and it was sad. It wasn't hokey sad. It wasn't, oh no, Eris got stabbed through the back, and we got to... Sorry, guys, I had that one ruined for me. I did not have this one ruined for me. Nobody spoiled Gremio dying for me, and it fucking sucked. So, yeah. Suikoden's known for having moments like that, positive and negative. I mean, positive and sad.
Hey, one more time. You had a same series, Suikoden. This is the one you didn't finish. One of the ones you didn't finish. But in Suikoden 5, you have yet another. In this one, she's kind of a meld between the two. She's kind of like your little sister, but she's your protector. She's your protector, but she's not very good at it, if that makes sense.
She tries. She's got a good heart.
Yeah. So she's she ends up, meeting a very similar fate, but this happens at the very end of the game. It's like, things go down and she dies like right in your arms as the game's ending.
Wow.
And if you don't have everything in place to prevent that from happening, then the game will just be like, nah, that's how it is.
Wow.
There's no getting over it. There's no getting revenge. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
Game over. And
you'd say that was another sad moment for you?
Oh yeah, that'll rip you right in fucking half if you didn't know it was coming.
Well, I remember getting out of the Suikoden wheelhouse. This is one that you and I both can talk about. Let's talk about Mass Effect 2. Oh, and there's some other present audience here that will know what we're talking about too, but let's talk about Morden.
Let's talk about how you shot fucking Morden.
Hey, can you wait? Can you let me? Can you let me fuck this chicken?
No, you shot him. You didn't let Morden wait.
Let's give the audience some context of what's going on here before you just spoil the whole spoiler.
Good God.
Spoiler alert, we're about to spoil Mass... Well, he's already said it now, but... So, okay. And again, Adam may correct me if I get these details wrong, but this is just the basic way that I remember it. So, there's this genocidal disease that's out there that is at the present in motion, killing this entire race of beings.
Not necessarily genocide.
Well, it's stopping them from producing at the rate that they should. So it's
Correct.
not killing them off. It's just instead of you having 7 billion, you have like 400.
Yeah.
It stops your reproductive rate.
It's population
It's
control.
bad. If your race is not able to reproduce the right way, it's bad for you. That's the point I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Well, this scientist, was either in charge of or he did create this.
He helped modify.
He helped modify. It was called the genophage, and it was designed to basically stop Krogans. Krogans, if I remember right, they could have like 400 babies at a time.
They'd have like a clutch of eggs.
Yes, they were. Think of the Zerg almost, and just to offset. Think of the Zerg from StarCraft. They could just multiply in mass, and this race came along and said, "Hey, we need to stop this because they are a warlike race. Not only are they a warlike race, but they are reproducing like mad. If we let them continue this, we're just going to have a universe overrun with these war-ridden people, these war-ridden beings, war-riddled beings, whatever. So we're going to make this disease type thing that's going to stop their reproduction rate. Instead of them being able to make 400 babies at a time, it might make 2 or 3. And that's even if they survive the harsh lands of where they come from and if blah, 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 blah. Well, the guy that actually engineered or helped engineer it and basically make it gains a conscience over time. He, over the time of the game of Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 1 a little bit, there's backstory to it, he basically realizes, hey, this is fucking wrong. I really shouldn't do this. I have a moral obligation to fix this. So, in kind of a side questy way that turns into part of the main quest, Mordin goes to this planet and says, I've developed this thing. It's like a gas. I'm going to release it out into the winds of the universe, and it's going to basically get out there like spores, and it's going to cure the genophage. I'm going to make the genophage, and I'm going to cure it. Well, you, Shepard, and Mordin, like all the other characters in Mass Effect, have developed this bond. But I think a lot, and I would argue, I'm sure there are people that had, people like Miranda, I'm sure people liked all the other characters in Mass Effect 2, and there was probably some where you say, this was my favorite character. My favorite character in Mass Effect 1 was Rex. Mass Effect 2, Mordin. I'm sorry. Just his character, the way he has a unique personality, and he's really cool, and I'm pretty sure that right now, a lot of people that play Mass Effect was like, yeah, I like Mordin. It's kind of hard to argue that that Mordin was a cool guy. He was a very cool being. He was a scientist. He talked really fast. It was part of their genetics and everything. It was part of their being. I think the Solarians only lived 30 years?
40
years. So they developed their speech to talk really fast. They cut out useless words
in
their language.
articles, and they would just get the point across as fast as possible.
They would talk very fast, and they make sure they get the point across. They were very unique. I'm tangenting here. The point is that not only did Shepard have a good relationship with Mordin, but players had a good relationship with Mordin because everybody liked Mordin. You can't not like Mordin. He's a fucking awesome dude. Well, you go to this planet, and Mordin's like, all right, Shepard, I have this cure. I'm going to go up to this elevator. I'm going to put this thing in this pod or whatever. It's going to disperse the cure of the genophage across the universe, and I'm going to fix this problem. And this is where my details are a little blurry, but again, I'm just trying to get a point across. As you're going there, Shepard's dictator at the time,
he's the renegade.
Yeah.
The elusive man?
The elusive man, and his cohorts or somebody hits him up on the comms, and they say, hey, Shepard.
No, this was the
was it the
Solarians.
Was it the Solarians?
The Solarian counselor did not want them to actually cure the genophage.
Yeah.
They thought it was the correct call.
Yeah. You're right. The Solarians are like, no, don't let him do this because they're basically trying to side you against Mordin. They say
we did the genophage for a reason.
Yes.
Krogan will.
Here's all the facts. I mean, it's a classic, Walking Dead video game, classic Mass Effect, classic choose it. You're faced with a really hard choice. Here's the choice. They tell you that this is why you need to let him do this. I'm sorry. From Mordin's perspective, Mordin says this is why you need to let me do this. He gives you all the facts, and they make logical sense. Well, the Solarians give you reasons why you need to stop him, and they all have warrant. They all have weight. They make sense. So the game, the Solarians, but the game puts a choice in your hands. Mordin's at this console. He's going to do this thing. And, man, goosebumps. These are why I love these conversations, because when these moments touch you and hit you in a way that they physically bring goosebumps out of me. Mordin's at the console. He's getting shit ready. There's all kind of other shit going on at the moment. But Mordin's like, hey, I've got 2 minutes. I've got to do this. Got to punch this in. Got to go up here. I'm going to go up this elevator. Shepard, I'm fixing to get this done. And Shepard walks up behind him. And he's like... And again, I'm paraphrasing, mind you, but I'm just setting the stage for people that may have not played this.
They have like a little conversation.
They have a conversation about it. And slowly but surely, because Shepard is so good at charisma, he slowly starts working in, basically, hey, man, you're not going to do this. And Mordin, being a highly intelligent person, gets it. He goes, okay, I know what's going on, Shepard.
Yeah, you're trying to fuck this.
You're trying to fuck this up. You don't want me to do this. And and you being Shepard, you're like, come on, man, listen to reason. Check this out, blah, blah, blah. And Mordin's not having it.
Nope.
Mordin has a solid fucking foot on this plan. And he's like, Shepard, I've heard your reasons. I've heard the Solarians' reasons. I get why you want me to do this, but I'm the one who did this. It is my choice to stop it, and I'm choosing to stop it. And Shepard's like, I can't let you do that. And Morden's like, well, Shepard, I don't care. I'm going to do this. And Shepard raises a gun and points it at him. Now, right here, I was already impacted. Because to me, that was the equivalent of Shepard pulling a gun on Rex. That was the equivalent of Shepard pulling the gun on Caden Malenko, whatever the fuck his name was. Anytime that the main character in a negative way in that game, and I don't mean the renegade pull the trigger like, let's have a bad moment. I mean, he pulled a gun in the story on his friend. That already affected me. But he pulls the gun up and he points into Morden. And Morden looks at him and is like, I'm fixing to turn around and I'm going to go up that elevator and I'm going to cure the genophage. Do what the fuck you got to do. Basically, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And he turns around and the game puts it in your hands. Right then. Pull the trigger.
To make it even worse, it's a trigger button that you pull.
Yeah, you can't just sit there and think about it and you know, man, let me weigh out the options. No, you got a timer kicking down because Morden's walking. And you got a choice. You can either shoot your fucking friend in the back and do what you want, or you can let him go and he'll go cure the genophage. Now, of course, in standard Mass Effect fashion, both choices have a little movie. They both have a story play out, and they both take a diverging path for characters. On that playthrough, on my first playthrough, Morden's my fucking friend. As much as we joked about it, I didn't shoot him. I let him go. And I played that scenario out. But not just from you, but from other people. I had heard, hey, man, do you know what happens if you shoot him? I was like, no. Well, me being me, in the age we live in, I went and Googled that shit and put it on YouTube. Shepard pulls a gun on Morden, says, Morden, I can't let you do that. And not only that, but Morden has this attitude like, you fucking asshole. That's basically how he makes you feel. He's like, you mean, you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be on my side, and you're going to do, man.
It's like, it's not the right decision. You said so yourself. It has to be done. And he goes, I was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. So,
he stops being logical for a second, and he goes, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And he yells it out.
So you're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to see you're supposed to be on my team. You're going to pull a gun on me. I'm turning around, and I'm going up that elevator. Do what the fuck you got to do, Shepard. He turns around. And if you shoot him, and you kill him. And he dies there. He dies right before his life.
He actually gets up in the elevator.
He actually gets up in the elevator. He gets 99% of the way. And right before he can actually physically press the fucking button, he dies.
Yep.
And then it pans back to Shepard. And this was the scene that got me. Shepard looks at his gun and fucking throws the thing and walks off. And I was like, damn. So all those moments together, just it's something that I cannot take away from Mass Effect 2. It did a very good thing of making you feel a strong emotion. You got the friendship bond emotion. You've got you are suddenly turning on your friendship. You are making some decision that you're putting somebody else's words and somebody else's logic into what you should have your fucking boys back.
Yep.
And then you have the decision of killing him. It adds so much, and it's so good. It's sad, but it's so good.
So very good.
So what about you? Got any other ones?
I got another one from Mass Effect.
Oh, sure. Just keeping a Mass Effect house for
they just only do 2 games in this whole fucking thing. All right.
I mean, it's not our fault.
Yeah,
Mass Effect
it's our fault. We're terrible at this podcast thing.
Mass Effect has lots of
podcasts.
It's a story.
All right. So, anywho, at the end of Mass Effect, if you manage to keep what?
Spoilers. I'm telling them, not you.
What?
You can't hear me because your headphones are on.
Oh, well, anywho. So, at the end of Mass Effect, if you manage to keep Liara the entire time, she does a little mind meld with you right before you leave. On that final mission.
Uh-huh.
She's like, oh, well, she does the whole embrace eternity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's a little bit different. If you're paying attention, you notice she does a little bit more than she normally does when she does the whole embrace eternity thing, which is what Asaris do when they want to mind meld / fuck / whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You tell this time she snagged some DNA off there.
Mm-hmm.
This time she was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get the second chance at this, so I'm going to go ahead and make a baby.
Oh, whoa.
That's that. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty impactful, since that's like, as you're going around in that last little part and you're talking to all the people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and for the last time you're like, oh, goodbye, Rex, I'll never see you again because I'm going to go die.
Oh.
Spoilers. He dies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, yeah, as you're going through there, you know, the final time you get to talk to Liara, she's like, I'm taking a baby from your ass.
Wow.
Yep. And, you know, she lays an egg or something a couple days later. I don't know.
This really sounds like
I
a sad
imagine
movie.
that sorry lay eggs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. She sits on it through the matriarch face. I'm not. But, I mean, you know, the idea is kind of touching.
Yeah. Not necessarily sad. It definitely, I mean, it's kind of sad that she realizes that, like, this may be the last time.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that she realizes this could possibly be the last chance I'll have to do, say, be anything with or about you, and she's like, I'm gonna
go ahead and take this chance now.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But I mean, you know, as far as emotional moments in games, I don't really have a whole lot of like extreme touching moments where I was like, man, you know, that stands out more than anything.
You telling me the moment?
But I have had like, not like sad, and not like in a sad way.
You're a cold person.
I am. I'm a cold-hearted bastard motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to get through my heart of fucking stone. But there are a couple of moments where I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. If you ever played any of the Lunar series, which is another fucking great game.
Oh, shit. Speaking to somebody that gave us some feedback and talked about some Lunar stuff, here's some Lunar love for you.
Yeah. Well,
Coming to you straight from the love of Adam's heart.
No,
Lunar. Take it away, Adam. That's my radio spiel for Lunar.
Oh, I like Lunar. Yeah. Anyway, so Lunar is a very musical like game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was, and the little list we did the other time is one of those games where it's like, I hate to bump this son of a bitch off, because Lunar is all about the music.
Mm-hmm.
In Lunar 2, the events of Lunar 1 have already come to pass, and, you know, essentially the Magic Emperor rose up, and the last Dragon Master went out, got his fucking shit, and stomped his shit in.
Okay.
And also, you know, basically took the goddess Althena and said, you know, this is my girlfriend, we're fucking gonna go live off and have kids and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she surrendered all her power. She surrendered all her power in the first game. Spoilers. And
Too late.
we're really bad about this.
We are so
thing.
bad about this, yeah.
So, anyways, more spoilers. This new being comes in, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna start fucking shit up. And Lucia, who is kind of like the twin sister to Luna, who was the goddess Althena in the first game,
Mm-hmm.
she comes back from the Blue Star to the Silver Star, which is where the game takes place,
Mm-hmm.
and she decides to, you know, look for Althena, and she finds out that Althena basically said, fuck it, I'm gonna live out the rest of my life as a mortal with, you know, this Dragon Master that I love,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna fucking die. And I just left my magic all throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially she goes, okay, well, I guess this just doesn't sit right with me. Man, Luna left in the area where the final battle of Lunar took place, Luna left a projection of herself
Mm-hmm.
to talk to Lucia. And she says, basically, you need to believe it. You couldn't have got here without the humans by your side. I'm sure you've made a bunch of friends to get this far. And if you did, then you need to believe in them. You need to believe in what they represent. They have they have my magic inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
They carry it with the power of humanity. And Lucia goes, fuck that. She just basically reclaims all the power right there. She's like, I don't believe in none of you motherfuckers.
Whoa.
So she goes off to fight Zophar, which is this big god entity who destroyed the Blue Star by herself and gets jack-laid. She took all the magic of the world into herself and went out to fight this guy and got shit stomped.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, she goes out there, gets completely fucking waxed, and the entire world is like, oh, it's kind of like the after the apocalypse kind of moment where like everything's all gone to shit, and they're sitting there in this crashed fucking city that's never going to get resurrected because all the magic in the entire world is gone. All your mages are like, well, we're just normal bookworms now, and you know, none of your skills work, none of your anything works. And Zophar, during this time while he was building up to getting, you know, this big showdown, he resurrected the villain from the first game.
Oh shit.
And guy's name was Galleon. He was the Magic Emperor.
Such a cool name, Galleon.
Yep. He was pretty cool. He walked through, he had a bunch of really badass lines. Like the first Dragon Master was like, you fight for the power of humanity, Galleon. And he was like, the only power you wield is the power to die and fade away in a moment's notice.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy was like the master of the one-liner, okay?
Yeah.
He's total fucking badass.
Take that, Luca Blight.
Yep. So, and his story in the first game was that he was one of the original 4 heroes that Dragon Master Alex, the hero of the first game, you know, idolized. They had the Dragon Master Dine. You had badass mage fucking Galleon. You had the fucking beast dude Mel, and then you had some other person that nobody knows. Oh, it was the head of the Mages Guild. I can't remember her fucking name. So, anywho, there was all these people were walking around, and so you find out later that Dine, you know, made this pact with Althena to have her be born into a human girl once every so often, and Galleon didn't fucking like that, so he became evil. And Luna grew up in the same village with Alex. They fell in love, da-da-da-da, shit happened. Well, he ends up kidnapping Luna, and all this bad stuff happened. So I'm going over the entirety of all these games now.
Yeah, that's a lot. You're pulling the Xenogears again.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going off on a tangent. So, anywho, knowing that he had this big disagreement with Dine, right, there where he was like, you know what, I don't believe in the power of humanity. Humans can't rule themselves. They need a god. The same that, and you see this paralleled again with Lucia later on, where she reclaimed all Althena's power. Well, he had been fighting for Zophar all through the second game. And you'd run into him at regular intervals, and he'd shit stomp you and laugh like, ha 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 ha, you're not a Dragon Master. You'll never be a Dragon Master. It took a Dragon Master to beat me last time, and I've got an even bigger dude behind me now. So you're just fucked, little boy. And, you know, so he just does it, and he does it, and he does it, and he does it, and he finally, you meet him again, and all the magic's gone from the world this time. This time, you don't even have all the weapons you had last time. So he just walks up, and he goes, and because he's still got magic,
right?
And he, you know, he basically just one shots your entire fucking party, and he goes, "What now? What now?" And he goes, and so the heroes kind of have like this crisis of faith moment where they're like, "We're not gonna give in. We're gonna keep fighting. You can't fucking hold us down." And they all one by one they stand up, and all of them get their fucking power back.
Cool.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Yep, all right. Come on, come at me then." And you finally beat him. And it's at this moment that it finally clicks to the main character of the second game. He goes, "You've been trying to build us up for this. You've been letting us live over and over and over again so that we would get to this point and be ready for it."
Why?
And he goes, "It's because apparently in the very first game when Dragon Master Alex whooped his ass, he learned his goddamn lesson." And so this entire time he had been a good guy playing the bad guy. And of course the moment that this evil god realized it, he just made him fucking disappear.
Wow.
But it cuts off with him looking out into the off into the desert as the heroes are leaving on their way to go fight Zophar at his home little fucking thing and finish off the game.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks out and he goes, "Are you watching in secret, Dine? These children shine with your light." And then, bang! He just totally fucking, what's the guy's name? Obi-Wan Kenobi's, and just nothing's left but like his circlet and his cape, and they just both just blow away in the wind.
Oh wow!
And that's it. That's how he goes out for the series.
That's cool.
So it's a really cool moment. And especially if you'd played through all the games and saw like this entire character arc where he was like, oh, he's a good guy, but he doesn't believe in what's happening, and they've got this major disagreement, and then he's just like, fuck everything, and he seems to not have learned anything throughout the entire second game, and you find out that it was all just flipped on its head right at the very end.
That's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it's kind of like if you ever read any of the Harry Potter or even watched the movies, you know how Snape turned out to be a good guy in the end.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same idea. Like, oh man, this guy's a douchebag. He's a douchebag. Oh wait, he wasn't a douchebag.
I've got one. I got one right alongside that.
Oh yeah.
It goes right into our topic of sad things, and it rolls right into that. Now,
let's hear it.
I was hesitant to do this one because for a minute I was, because it's from Final Fantasy 12.
You fucker.
I've actually shown you this video, but that only lasted for a minute because there are several moments like this in Final Fantasy 12. 12 is just littered with. The reason why I picked 12 as my second favorite, the battle system's cool. I enjoyed it. It's pretty cool. The graphics are whatever. I mean, there is a walking, talking female rabbit lady. That's right up my alley.
Yeah.
But the story and the narrative and the old Renaissance style way that they talk and narrate and tell the story, it's golden. I mean, it is. We're talking voice actors that are like stage quality voice actors. They didn't just get some Joe Blows. They have people that they can project themselves as these characters. It's so good. So there's a moment in 12 where somebody dies. Holy
shit, really?
Yeah, no shit, right? And I'm going to try my best to summarize this, and I'm going to try to make it make sense without, no offense, Xenogearsing it, and I hope I do it justice. But hopefully the actual ending moment I'll get right.
Just Xenogears it. You got this. You got this. Just tell the whole damn thing.
Ahead.
Just go off into it. Just spoil the whole fucking thing. So
I can't tell you why, but in the beginning of the game, you find out that there are these two brothers. These two brothers are very important. One of the brothers is on your side. He's the side of good. The other brother is on the side of evil. The other brother is very much on high on the side of evil. There's the Emperor, and the Emperor has two sons. He has an older son named Vayne Solidor, and then he has a younger son named Larsa Solidor. The Emperor has a royal guard around him. They're these really cool knights. So sorry, I can't talk now for some reason. These really cool knights.
Don't die.
They're called the Judge Magisters. They have this awesome armor. If you ever see the typical artwork for Final Fantasy 12, you've probably seen the judges. All of them have this really cool, very stylistic, unique armor. And they are top dog shit. That's why they're there to serve under the Emperor. Well, toward the, 2/3 of the game, God, there's so much to tell without spoiling it, but making you understand what's going on. Vayne, the older brother, is the next seat in power. He wants his father to die because he wants to take the Emperor's throne. He wants to be the king. He wants to take his spot. Well, people around him know what he's like. He's the bad guy. You know he's the bad guy in the game, but he's got a fucking silver tongue. He gets the people on his side, but people know, yeah, you're fucking shit up. He's trying to go after this ultimate power to get this. Not only does he want the throne power, but he wants this other magical power as well. He just wants to be top dog shit of everything.
Okay.
His younger brother, of course, his brother knows him. Now, we're talking like a younger brother that's like 16, 17 years old. Vane is like, I don't know, mid-20s, early 30s, whatever. And this guy is still a young teenager.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's brought up in the Empire, so he speaks well and all this stuff. Well, his little brother knows what the fuck's going on. And he's like, I need to stop my brother. Well, Vane knows that he's fucking around and trying to get him killed. So this is what this game does really well. It's a lot of this it's Game of Thronesy. I hate to use that as just a reference, but it is. There's shit going on, and then there's more shit going on, and it's onions.
So it's layered, yeah.
Yes, all over the place. So, toward the end, later in the game, what do you know? The Emperor dies. In the throne room, in the room where they found him dead, he's dead of poison.
Yeah.
So in this scene, it shows, of course, the fucking judges are coming. The judges have been called, and they're fucking marching to the room. I think in this particular, and again, forgive me, any time from here on out, if I get these exact details wrong, forgive me, but I'm trying to paint the picture for you. It shows Gabranth. Remember I told you in the beginning?
James.
Remember I told you in the beginning there were two brothers. There's a good brother and a bad brother. The good brother's on your side. The bad brother he's one of the judge magisters. His name is Gabranth. He is the top dog judge. He has the most magic, the most power, everything. He's walking to the room. He's like, they're dragging some fucking council members off or something. And the council member's like, what? This is a fucking outrage. What reason do we have to kill the emperor? We wouldn't fucking do that. They bust in the room. There's the emperor dead. There's Vane, like with his hands behind his back, kind of nonchalant, just looking around with this kind of mood. And the other judges are there. And he's like, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, oh, well, the emperor's dead. And wouldn't you know it? It's poison from the council member's hand. And they're like, we wouldn't fucking poison the emperor. We're underneath him. Like, we belong to him. Why would we do that? And Vane's like, yeah, well, that's what happened. Well, of these judges, there are judges that are under the emperor and serve the emperor, but Vane has gotten into their head. He's promised them power of like, hey, if you fucking buddy with me and you let this coup go, you're going to be under me, and I'm coming into some power, so I'm going to hook you up. So even though the judges are sworn to protect his father, they're like, hey, man, if you want to kill your dad, I didn't see nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're in this room. And just from the way the story has been told so far, you can tell that there are judges that are like, they're saying the usual lines like, well, we're going to have him beheaded and we're going to do. Well, there was a female judge, the only female judge in there, and she was very close to Gabranth. They were in cahoots. They were in cahoots because they wanted to protect Larsa. They have this, like, older brother, older sister, but they're not related to him, nurturing, like, we need to protect him. Vane knows that behind Vane's back, Larsa, the little younger brother, is going out and trying to stop him. He's trying to find secrets and details to bring Vane down.
Yeah.
And Gabranth, he loves the little dudes. He's like, I'm going to protect him. And the girl, Drace is her name. And she's like, hey, we need to do anything and everything in our power to keep an eye on him and protect him. So fast forward to this room. They're all in the room. All the judges are there. And Vane's like, well, I mean, my father's dead, so you know what's going to happen now. I got to be the emperor. And she fucking snaps. She's like, this is bullshit. They didn't fucking poison him. The fucking snake in the room is you, Vane. And he was like, I mean, well, I'm the emperor now, so what? And she's like, I don't give a fuck. And she draws her sword on him, on Vane. And Vane's like, whatever. And she goes to run at him to go kill him, to go put a stab in him or something. And one of the other judges stops him, or stops her. Mm-hmm. And he's like, don't you understand? When you bared your sword at him, you bared your sword at the law, because he's now the emperor, you know? Mm-hmm. So he fucking slams her to the ground, and another judge comes up because, again, I'm sorry if I'm getting tendrils, but there was a judge that had like a kind of a crush on her, like really liked her. So he was like, Vane, please don't do this. And he's like, whatever. And Gabranth is there. Gabranth steps up. Like, there's got to be something else we can do. Like, we can do something. And he goes, oh, a hound looking for scraps at the emperor's table. Would you serve another emperor, hound? And he looks over at Drace. And that moment right there grabbed me. That was the part of it that got me. Gabranth walks over to her and kneels down next to her. And I think there's a few other words, but the words that she says is just, pray be quick. So Gabranth pulls his sword up and he looks her in the eye and he runs his sword through her. Because he had to. In this
he didn't
moment.
Have to. He could have hit that motherfucker.
Here's the thing. This is the problem. If Drace would have got away with it, they would have killed Drace, and she would have killed the Emperor, and maybe that would have been okay. Maybe some of the judges may have broke and said, well, I don't know what to do. But Gabranth and Drace both have this thing where they want to protect the little Larsa. They want to protect the little brother. Mm-hmm. So Gabranth knows, okay, if I just snap and turn around and go to kill them, I got 5 judges on me. They're going to kill me. I'm going to die. If I try to attack them, he's going to stab me in the back and he's probably going to kill me. The problem is, if I'm dead, that means Drace is fixing to die and be gone, and I'm dead and gone, and nobody is left alive to protect Larsa. So
But if he kills the Emperor, then that guy becomes the Emperor.
Maybe. Or the judges kill him.
Maybe. Why would the judges kill him when there's no Emperor?
There's too much overpower in that room. If he goes after Vane, he's gonna get down because these judges are not to be fucked with. Mm-hmm. So he knows in his head right then, I have to kill her because if I turn against the Emperor or don't do what this new Emperor wants, Larsa has no hope. There's no, and he don't really know too much about his brother and the good guys that are out there. He don't even know that y'all are in cahoots and y'all are helping the little brother. It's just in this moment, he has to do this fucked up thing and kill her, and he does it. And Vane just turns around and looks out the window and says, "And so House Salador lives on." It's just such a good moment. That drama. That intertwining and backstabbing and what the fuck is who's in love with who likes who's on whose side is all throughout 12. So good. I really hope you play it someday. You should because we owe it to each other.
One of these days you'll play Xenogears.
I will. I have no problem with playing Xenogears again.
Well,
I'm just going to tell you now.
You a good game.
It's going to get to a point in that game where I'm going to go, Adam, I'm lost.
My head is full of fun.
I'm 6 hours in this game.
Xenogears is actually the true sequel to Chrono Trigger.
Say it ain't so.
It's so.
I think you're lying.
Because Luca appears in Xenogears. What? And she dies in that first village.
Do you see her there in the village?
She doesn't die in some stupid fucking orphanage. Beaten by some 2-bit fucking cat thing. Okay, she killed Lavos. She's not gonna get one shot by some fucking fruity ass fucking cat and it's fucking little Harley Quinn Joker fucking sidekick knockoff.
Whatever that was.
Okay, that is. She went to Landhead Village somehow through some temporal fucking distortion, the same way Cloud did, and fucking then she died when fucking Faye turned into
You are just nothing but spoilers about
the old man.
Anything.
Yep.
Next thing you're going to tell me that that frog from Chrono Trigger was actually really a person. He had a name and. I do have, if you don't mind me going again, I do have, since we're going off of sad and just going to moments that gripped you and grabbed you. Let me tell you something. This is also going back to this. This is also going back to that Final Fantasy VII bullshit of this was the moment that gripped you. In Final Fantasy VII, could you or could you not resurrect somebody from death by using a spell or an item? You could, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So why the fuck didn't they throw a fit? This. I mean, I'm being half humorous about this. We as gamers have this unspoken thing where we know that the shit that goes on in the game doesn't actually always go on.
Well, no, it's cutscenes.
Right. So if it's time for somebody to die, I don't care if you have life 1, life 2, Phoenix down, what, and you could throw a mega elixir after or an elixir and get. Doesn't matter if they're gonna die. They're dead.
That goes back to 8-bit theater.
Mm-hmm.
You remember 8-bit theater?
Yeah, I remember 8-bit theater.
Yep.
But
you never know. If it's a fucking cutscene, you can just die.
Yep.
Bullets don't harm you unless it's a cutscene, in which case they're lethal.
So, I will admit that no, it wasn't some prominent thing. I didn't fucking storm the streets and why didn't they just bring her back to life? I didn't do that dumb shit. But in the back of my head, as I'm sure it's been the back of other gamers' heads, if somebody's fucking dead, you have the ability in the game to bring them back. Why the fuck don't you just do that? Well, because they're scripted to die, it's not going to happen.
They have items and materia and all kinds of things devoted to this.
There are things at your disposal to. You can bring her back with 1 fucking hit point, and there's ways to do it, but they didn't do it because it's a scripted death. So flash forward, I don't know how many years. I'm watching the intro video to Lost Odyssey.
Yep.
Tells the story of an immortal human being type person, and there's several of them. And I think Kime lived for over 1,000 years. I forget the actual date.
Yep. He's basically like the Highlander in video game form.
He cannot.
Wait. Let me stop you before you get to where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just throw this out there.
Throw it out.
That Lost Odyssey, as a game, had the hardest motherfucking first boss in the history of first fucking bosses.
It is known
first boss is usually like joke form. Let me show you how the battle system works.
Yep, not this one.
Nah, this motherfucker could randomly just kill you.
The fact that you did not go through a fog gate to fight the first boss of Lost Odyssey.
No. It had nothing to do with that. The motherfucker had an attack that would take you down like 3/4 of your hit points.
Mm-hmm.
And he could use it twice in a row, and you had no way to heal through it.
But Adam, just go back and go level up. Oh, wait.
No.
You can't. You can't grind yourself through this boss.
They're like, nah, you fight everything in the game up to that point. The enemies don't respawn. There's no random encounters.
What you got is what you got.
Prepare for the dick is what he says.
Yes.
And then he gives it to you. He takes 3/4 of your hit points away. You can heal. Full heal the next turn. Like, I'm doing nothing but using healing items.
Yep.
Guess what?
Still fucked.
You're dead. If he decides to use that attack twice in a row, you're done.
Yep. So join me on a tale of Lost Odyssey's intro movie. So it's about an immortal person, and it shows this battle. This is before you even get to the kick-ass, everybody knows part of Kime fucking running into a battlefield and just waylaying people by himself, dodging swords and severing people's heads and gouging people through the neck and jump kicking off of somebody's Kime is a badass, but he's a story badass because he's over 1,000 fucking years old and he's done almost nothing else in his life but fight.
And he's only level 1.
Yeah.
So that's how much fighting. That's how much fighting it takes to get to level 1.
Yeah. Let's talk about real in-game shit that don't make sense.
Get real here for a minute.
That's a level 1 fucker. So that's not even the part that got me. That was the badass part. Just watching that 2-minute fight with him. Before that, it shows these two generic. You don't know who the fuck they are or what they're about. These two wars. What was the word I'm looking for? Adam, battalions, sides,
brigade,
whatever. Sure.
Something.
These two sides are coming to war. It shows the battlefield where they're fighting the war on. It's got these ones that have these weird fucking circles on their head, and the other guys have these big, tall, pillar-like wolf-looking things, whatever. It shows it from afar, and it shows these two fucking warring sides about to run into each other, and they're fucking clanging blades, and they're fighting. They're doing the typical war shit you see in any war. It shows little tactics where it shows the one side has this a machine they bring in, and it drops down a fucking blade that not only cuts people, like it's huge, it's like 7-8 stories tall. Yeah. And it drops down this big vertical freaking pole that goes horizontal on the ground and then spins in a circle and just like cuts like 80 people in half in one swoop. Well, then it shows them counteracting this machine by having a machine that walks up to them and just drops a fucking blade and cuts the machine in half. So it shows not only war as in two two human entities on the ground fighting warfare. It shows their war. It shows their their machines as well.
Yeah.
So on this floor, there are bodies everywhere.
There are bodies on the floor. The bodies have already hit the floor.
The bodies have already hit the floor.
Yeah.
Well, in this cutscene, all this fighting's going on, all this battling's going on, and they just show this one fucking body start glowing blue and resurrects, and he comes back into the fight and picks up his sword and fucking goes back to battle. And it shows another one and another one. One of these sides has this big fucking tower that they're wheeling into the battlefield. And at the top of this tower is a gigantic crystal-like thing with a bunch of mages surrounding it.
Okay.
And they're like chanting and doing shit. They are resurrecting people on the battlefield.
Now, as cool as it is that they have a gameplay mechanic illustrated in that cutscene, let me ask you this question.
Hit me with it.
You're in the military and you're fighting a war.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
They resurrect you. Do you go home? Or do you pick up your sword and keep fighting?
Motherfucker, you pick your sword up and you keep
No,
fighting.
man. I'm like, no, I done died once.
You're checking out? Did my part.
I did contract, ended death. Okay, you got 100% from me.
You
right
go
there.
home in two ways. Either as a hero or just you died.
You died, got resurrected.
How'd you
cool.
get it? Man, I fought 700 people and then did my retirement. What about you? Man, I died day 3, so they sent me home.
It's like,
yeah,
nah.
you have much honor. You have much honor, Adam.
You know what? If I fucking die, okay? Sorry, all bets are off after a death.
I'm sure there are other moments like this. This would be a good question for our audience. If you can think of times in gaming where it showed like a game mechanic that was kind
fleshed out in reality
and worked as it should have. Because again, if you didn't catch what was going on, people were dying on the battlefield and they had a way to bring them back on the battlefield. They didn't just say, "Oh man, 800 of our soldiers are dead." They're like, "No, fuck that. We got mages.
Resurrection spell.
Mages know how to do magic, they know how to resurrect and raise and all that.
They
shit.
didn't just turn them
Push
into
them onto the battlefield and raise.
They
our
didn't
army.
do like that D&D thing where it's like, okay, well, let me just resurrect them from the dead,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and let their undead corpses keep going. Cause
No, they brought
fuck
them.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck
They're
you.
like, we have an actual resurrection magic, and it's cheap, and we use it all the time, just like the party does.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yeah,
Moments like that. That's awesome. It shows where somebody takes the time to take the care to make that where it's cool. Makes sense in a gaming scope. It's not just gimmicky. It's at the same time, do you feel that if it was to do that, what would it mean to you? What would the scene have meant to you? Sephiroth falls down from the sky and rams his sword through the back of Ares, and she slumps over, and he goes to back away like, yeah, I killed that shit. And then Cloud goes, pink, just pops Phoenix down. This scene obviously would not have the impact. I mean, she died, but she was only dead for a bit. I don't know.
She's going to get resurrected in the remake. You know that shit. You know it's just happening.
That's not going to happen.
That's going to happen.
No, it's not.
She's going to die, and they're going to be like, Phoenix down.
No.
Or there's going to be some way to resurrect her in the new game. It's going to happen. It's going to fucking happen. I guarantee it happens in the remake. They're going to cave to that. Square is all about some fucking whoring out Final Fantasy VII to the max. And that's the only thing they can do to whore themselves any further at this point is to bring Aerith back just for the shits.
Do you think they would
They'll
go
just
to
take
that
it away?
lengths?
They're going to take it away. They'll take away the only thing you had to hold on to. But you thought Dirge of Cerberus and the 50,000 other fucking variations of the games, the fucking movie, whatever, you thought that was them whoring out Final Fantasy VII? Nah. They're going to remake it and bring back Aerith.
That's really what's gonna happen. Don't think they would do
It's happening. It's happening.
Well, the reason...
It's happening. The thing is, you don't want to believe it.
No. I want to know because in general, I want to know their direction for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Are you guys... Okay, here's an off-topic. We're going to have a podcast episode one day. I love saying this. This should be our thing. We should have like
We're
a
going to have a podcast one day.
We're going to have a podcast episode about what we're talking about. But we're going to have an episode one day where we're talking about video game movies. It's going to happen. And when I talk to people, and I'm talking gamers and just average people alike, and I say, why do you think that video game movies suck? The biggest answer I get is because, dude, if you played the game, you know the story. What's the point?
Bullshit.
What's the point in seeing it in story mode? I say,
fucking shit.
Now, to me, I say, you know what? That's understandable because I can kind of get that. But I'm telling you right now, if they took Suikoden and made that fucker into a live action, and I mean with care, if we ever talk about games, game movies, understand we're saying take it seriously and take it with care. If they made it into a movie and they kept it the same script, and fuck yeah, I want to see that. That is awesome.
Oh no!
So when I see something like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I equate that to like a Final Fantasy VII movie. My question for Square or whatever company's making this remake. What is your direction for this? Are you trying to go back and do a facelift on Final Fantasy VII and just give it a new battle system and new graphics, but you're going to keep everything else about the story the same? If that's the case, very cool. But if you're going back to try to appeal to a new audience today and you're going to change the story up to...
They're going to change the story so Final Fantasy VIII makes sense because that's their fucking pattern.
No.
That's their pattern. They're going to go back and it's going to explain how fucking Balam Garden got fucking formed. No. They're going to tie all the Final Fantasy
So
that
is really a long way of me saying, not only do I don't think that they're going to do that, I really, really fucking hope that they don't resurrect Aerith. Or if they do something where like Cloud sees that Sephiroth is flying down from the sky and he like pushes her away and he blocks the sword really cool with his Buster Sword and they have a duel. And I'm like, stop. She dies. Leave it be.
Maybe he pushes her out the way, blocks the sword, but she falls off the pedestal and hits her head.
So she still dies, but she dies a different way. What a bullshit way to die.
I mean, technically, it's Cloud that killed her because he pushed her off the pedestal.
Whoever your party member is with you at the time, it shows them fighting on the pedestal, but it shows that character just slowly watching her fall. And he looks back at Cloud and he looks down where she's at.
You know how there were those little things you jumped on to get up to where she was? Now she hit her head on one of those and there's like a bloody spot in the water.
You are now murdering Aerith again in your mind. You are re-murdering this girl in a more gruesome way. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
That's hilarious.
That is an iconic female character, and you're now bashing her head open on a fucking rock.
She'd be like Gwen Stacy.
Oh. That was, come on now.
Her limp body just laying there like, ugh.
Yeah, I really hope they don't do that.
And here's the thing, man.
Tell me the thing, man.
The thing is you're never going to get a good video game movie for several reasons.
Oh man. Do you want to do that now? You want to save that for another day?
We're going to do this right now because you brought it up.
I said we'd do it another day.
You brought it up.
Okay.
You're never going to get a good video game movie because you don't have video game fans making the goddamn movies.
Exactly.
You have people, you can either give a shit about the property or you cannot give a shit about the property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the way I'm gonna compare this to is look at the Marvel. Look at the way Marvel's being handled. Mm-hmm. Marvel's being handled by 3 different studios.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got Sony, you got the actual Marvel that's under Disney,
mm-hmm.
and you got Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sony and the actual Marvel studio have finally started seeing eye to eye,
mm-hmm.
and trying to put a cohesive thing together.
Right.
Then you got Fox over here. Fox just doing its own fucking thing, trying to whore it out to get as much money as possible.
Yep.
Okay? When you see stuff like Blood Rain get made into a movie, when you see stuff like Tomb Raider get made into a movie.
Hey, it had Angelina Jolie, right?
Uh-huh. That was a good cast. Bad fucking story.
Bad movie.
So, I mean, and Tomb Raider really didn't have that great of a story anyway, so I can't tell the difference between the movie and the actual game story.
They decided to make Mario a fucking movie. Why not try to make
Mario
Tomb Raider a fucking...
Mario had no business ever being anything other than a cartoon.
Ever. A cartoon, CG animated, something like that, cool.
You know, but there comes a point where you have to have somebody that give a fuck.
I'll tell you this. I don't think that it's just that somebody has to give a fuck. I think it has to be a large part of directors or writers or producers or whatever, as a collective whole, not going, we want to make this in our vision.
Well, no.
Why don't you just take the fucking script and the story from the fucking game and copy
Can't make a 20 fucking hour game into a goddamn 2-hour movie. It will not translate.
I know, not everything. I get that. But you know what I mean.
And on the light side, Suikoden is 20 hours.
Yeah.
That's
speed running.
What you're looking at is how can we tell this story? First, you got to pick wisely on which video games you want to make into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got to say, how can I tell this story in the way a movie would? The same way a comic and a movie can't be exactly the same because it's just time. A movie comes in a certain format. It's going to be between 2 and 3 hours. So you got to make it fit. You have to make it fit. And if you have to make it fit, then you just need to figure out what are the key points you need to hit. You know, you may need to omit an entire section out of a game.
Right. Yeah, you just take Necrolord's Castle completely out.
Fuck you. No.
Just making a point. I get that, man. You can edit the story itself, and you can cut, and you can find the parts of the past. If you take 1, 2, and 3, and you want to cut 2 out, you need to make sure that 1 and 3 can still merge together. You need to be cutting out something that's not really going to have a huge impact, or at least kind of fix 1 and fix 3.
But sometimes you can't do that without destroying a story.
My point is, Adam, they don't always do that. They don't say, I want to edit out 2 and make 1 and I want to change.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that they do.
I'm not saying that they do it well at all. They don't fix the end of part 1.
You end up with a lot of U-Bowl fucking movies where they just said, nah.
They don't take the end of part 1 and the beginning of part 3 and kind of change it just a little bit to make it make sense. No, they take 1, 2, and 3 and they say, fuck 1, 2, and 3. I just want 2. I want 4, 5, 7, and 9, and I'm going to write these all a different way. I'm going to write these characters different. I'm going to write the story different.
To do it.
That is what pisses me off.
Well, it's worse than that. The Hitman story was just like that. The Hitman movie had nothing to do with the games.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's what you should be looking at whenever you see a video game movie come out at all.
Yeah.
Is that they just won't respect the source material. It takes Hollywood. Hollywood can't get over itself.
No.
It doesn't respect comics. It doesn't respect video games. It doesn't respect TV.
I will say this: and I'm not just me and Adam, but gamers take this shit seriously, and as a media, it is still growing. Bro, we're far past fucking bleeps and bloops. Yeah. I'm so sick and tired of seeing Pac-Man and Space Invaders when people talk about gaming today. It's fucking ridiculous. My God, if you're going to get that bad, talk about Call of Duty. At least you're moving up in time.
Nobody talks about silent films or, fucking cave paintings when they're talking about books.
But when they reference video games, let's toast a splash screen and have Mario from Nintendo on there. Let's have Pac-Man.
Some motherfucker with an Atari controller going blip, 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 blip.
This shit has evolved as a media, and it, especially in the RPG scope, there are stories to be told, and it's fucking given to you. Now, if you're telling me that you can make a trilogy, which wasn't still, in my opinion, the greatest, maybe that's another podcast, but when you take something like Lord of the Rings and you put a fever fucking pitch at that and make it awesome, you take another one like any of the Marvel movies that are awesome to this day, and you make those so good and so much of a treasure.
People that respect the source material.
But you can't do it to a video game, you're just a fuck up.
Well, I mean, you got Hollywood films that don't respect fucking books, okay? There are dicks out there that just don't fucking give a fuck.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Hollywood just needs to take a nuke so somebody else can take over. Because I don't know what the hell is going on over there.
Like, I don't even.
But it's a cultural thing over there where they just like, ha ha ha, I know better than the people who wrote the fucking multi-million-dollar property that I'm going to rape in movie form.
Yep.
Okay, and it doesn't matter whether it's a video game, a book, or, you know, whatever. Even other movies at this point where they, one of these days they're going to remake Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because somebody bought tickets to that new Ghostbusters.
Yep. If you bought a ticket to the new Ghostbusters movie,
You belong in a place in hell right beside the people who bought Chrono Cross.
comes full circle, doesn't it? Comes all the way back around. Adam has a very special place in his mind for people that like Chrono Cross or Final Fantasy VIII or the Doom movie. Or,
Yep.
Oh, God, don't get me started. You liked the Resident Evil movies, though, right? No, you didn't like that? You didn't like you didn't like Double Dragon the movie? You didn't like that?
No.
Mortal Kombat. Come on, you had to like Mortal Kombat.
Nope.
No.
Didn't.
Street Fighter.
I played Street Fighter, the movie, the game. I want them to make Street Fighter, the movie, the game, the movie.
What about? Come on. What about one that tried a little bit? What about Silent Hill the movie? You liked that one, didn't you?
No.
But they tried.
Yeah, no.
House of the Dead.
No. Yeah, we're in the place where it's like,
Hey,
I can name the amount of video game movies I thought were good on no hands.
Yeah. I'm really waiting for the writer, producer, director conglomerate that comes out and says, "Hey, man, we grew up playing this shit, and we've heard our corporate backers, we've heard the production company. They come at us and say, well, this is the focus tested wage, and we said we don't give a fuck. My father has money, he has money, this guy has money. We had enough money to get the cast, to get the script. We made this movie exactly how it was made when you played it back in 19 We got Chrono Trigger the movie, and bam. And then you're like, whoa, hold on now. I've had 50 movies that blow ass, and you're pulling the fucking top tier out, and you fold your arms and you watch it, and you walk out of that theater in fucking tears and screaming. You're like, somebody did it. Yeah. I'm waiting for the Avengers of video game movies, and it ain't even been close to being in reality yet.
Nope.
That's
and it
sad.
won't be for another fucking 50 years.
That's sad.
And it might never be, because the thing is that, like I said, Hollywood doesn't respect books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the oldest form of print, of media.
Yep.
Okay, since they don't respect that, getting video games to have a spot, the newest form of media, is going to be hard.
Yep.
But they don't respect TV. You have shows that come out that have nothing to do with how they like to change origins, and they like to, add their own little twists and what they think will play good in a movie.
Yep.
Some 2-bit hack fucking gets up there, and because he's gone to fucking film school, thinks he knows better about how to take a multi-million-dollar fucking property that already stands well on its own, like a fucking comic book.
Yep.
And be like, well, I think I can change this. I understand editing things, okay, to make it fit in the film format. That's fine. But when you go, I'm going to bend this over backwards and fucking goddamn Wolverine thing, okay? And then it becomes like, all right, well, I hope someone dies in your family. Yeah. Because you deserve this pain.
When you see a movie, I would love to harp on Resident Evil, because that blows my fucking mind that first movie apparently did so fucking well. That shit got out of control for me.
Yeah.
Like, I was already kind of tapped out after number 2, but then there was a third and a fourth. I think they've had the seventh and final one.
I can't stand the little action orgies. I don't like those movies to begin with. And I didn't like fucking Resident Evil.
No.
So it was just one of those ones where I was like,
no, the games I did.
Whoa,
I redact that. I do like the games. Fuck you. The games were good.
No, they're fucking not. You know what the movie should have been about?
What?
Finding fucking heart-shaped keys. That's what the fucking movie should have been about.
Tangent for another day.
It should have been like, oh, look, I found the diamond key. And he walks around in a circle with tank controls slamming into fucking furniture until he finally fucking... And the camera just keeps switching fucking viewpoints.
You don't
the
like the
entire
Resident
time.
Evil games because you have to go find the blue lion head.
I don't like it because you have to push
a
a statue to find the blue lion head, which fucking sucks your dick and spits out the diamond key.
Did you know
That is some reason. This is a police station where this is how you get to the weapons locker, which they might fucking need in a hurry one day. You know, if they're actually policing the city or anything. Yeah, no. I think the game's retarded. And that was...
But Adam...
Once again, as we were talking about earlier, Resident Evil 2 was the point where I bowed out of the Resident Evil series because I realized that was a theme.
Adam, at some point, you have to let a video game be a video game.
Sure. But here's the problem. At some point, you have to let a movie be a movie. It hurts when your form of media is confined in a little box, isn't it? I wanted a survival horror experience. I didn't want survival horror to translate into puzzle with zombies. Puzzle with zombies. That's what they should have called it. It'd been a more accurate description.
There was still action in it. You still had to shoot zombies, or you had to avoid them.
Zombie puzzle. Zombo puzzle.
Zombo puzzle.
That's what they should call it.
Zumble?
It's not survival horror. It's puzzles with zombies.
What was your break? Man, you are just a hateful person.
I am.
You just look at games and
fucking
go,
hate shit.
Video games.
Yeah, I fucking hate video games.
What is your favorite video game of all time?
Favorite video game of all time?
If you're about to give me an answer, I'm going to get up from here and slap you, because there is no fucking way that you know that off the top of your head.
I mean, wow.
Well, maybe you do.
There are a couple of contenders.
What is your most hated video game? Now, I already know. We already know. We have well defined the hatred
We have
for this
defined that pretty well.
One day, hopefully, we'll have some good video game movies, and maybe we'll have our Avengers moment. But man, every time a new movie comes out now, when it's like, oh, here's X movie based off of X video game property, I don't have that spark in me where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll give it a chance. Maybe this will be the one.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed was the latest one where I played Assassin's Creed 2 all the way through. I enjoyed it, and I saw this thing, and I'm like, okay, here's a movie. And they're like, oh, they've got this actor. I'm like, stop. The actor doesn't mean shit. I don't care about that.
It's a video game movie.
He can be a fucking nobody if he plays the character really well. What's it about? And then I saw the Animus version in the movie was him fucking tied to that big robotic arm flipping around. I was like, oh, God damn it, I see it again. Yep. Here we go again.
Well, that was a stupid premise.
We have to
Assassin's
Hollywoodize this shit.
That was a stupid direction for the game to take, in my opinion. Was like, your DNA. You go back in the past through DNA. What, they could have left that shit out. You should have just been some dude in that time and go around and do what the fuck you want instead of it being some flashback sequence. Where,
it's just a hokey way of.
It was hokey and it was thrown in there. It's contrived. They should have just been like, okay, well, here are the assassins. Get to play as the assassins. Do what the assassins do. And there's no other bullshit current timeline story at all. You cut all that out of it, and Assassin's Creed becomes a much better game.
Did you like the Warcraft movie?
I like the Warcraft movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I thought that was because that was made by the people who... Huh?
We never had this discussion because as prominent figure in World of Warcraft as you are, I'd love to know what you thought of that movie.
I thought, well, it was made by fucking Blizzard, so they obviously didn't shit on their own fucking material. It doesn't tell anything. You wouldn't know a goddamn thing about World of Warcraft from watching that movie.
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't... I mean,
it was lore.
I think it was supposed to be first. The movie was supposed to be about World of Warcraft. And then
it's about Warcraft.
It's about Warcraft. The actual Warcraft
real-time strategy game.
Right.
And, there are people who are in WoW on that game. But, they respected their own source material, and they basically just told a story.
Yeah.
And it was a decent story. It was well done. The CG was good. Didn't make a whole lot of money. And if you're not a WoW guy, or you're not a Warcraft fan, then you're not going to have a bunch of those "oh man" moments. But you will be like, this is. I understand this.
Yeah.
This is a story. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
I understood the story they told, but I did not relate because I don't play
Correct.
Warcraft.
So I mean, but it didn't not make sense.
Right, exactly.
Which is what most video game movies do.
What is your favorite CG movie, story, CG cutscene, whatever, from any Blizzard game? Go.
My favorite cutscene from any Blizzard game?
Like an example, remember that one you showed me from World of Warcraft where it showed, what's his name, going up to Gul'dan and fixing to drink the liquid, and he fucking pours it out, and it shows the shit flying over his head.
You're talking about the opening for Warlords of Draenor?
Oh, that was good shit. The way he just pours it down.
That was a good little CG from any Blizzard game.
Yeah, that's any Blizzard game.
I would say the opening of Diablo 2.
The opening of Diablo 2. That was showed was that's the one with the old man, and it was the black cloaked figure, and it was slowly like shambling.
Actually,
man, it's been so long. I'm sorry.
Actually, I'm gonna go with the new one, brand new. I'm gonna go with that. I think that actually beats it out a little bit. When you had the way it was presented, okay, you had in the new expansion, the Alliance and the Horde both went and attacked a mutual target. Okay.
Tracking.
And you have the Alliance view it from their side and the Horde view it from their side.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an Alliance and a Horde character, you can watch the cutscenes twice and see the whole thing.
Cool.
But what it ends up being is the Alliance goes directly after Gul'dan.
Uh-huh.
The Horde kind of runs into the brunt of the army.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they're fighting. So the Horde is like directly fighting like the brunt of the demonic forces on this island.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting their shit kicked in. They're just getting their fucking shit waxed. Well, they formed a little battle line, and behind their battle line, you have Sylvanas with their archers on the hilltop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're shooting down over the top of the Alliance, who went straight after Gul'dan, to keep these winged fucking demons from, coming down and basically encircling the Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have the king of the Alliance and all his fucking men down there right at Gul'dan's fucking feet. And you have the Horde over here just fighting just a giant army of demons.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Alliance perspective, what you see is that suddenly the Horde goes, they blow their little fucking horn and they just dip.
Oh shit! What?
Yeah, and you're like, the Alliance, you're like, what? Why?
Yeah, I thought we were in agreement here.
Yeah, I thought we had like a mutual thing, so they had to back off killing Gul'dan and just get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to dip, and you see Varen is the last guy. He's the king of the Alliance. He's the last guy to get up, and he's climbing up his little airship thing, and this giant monster grabs the airship, and he just sacrifices himself by like stabbing this fucking demon right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ends up like at Gul'dan's feet, and he's like killing all these fucking demons, and finally they just overwhelm him, and he just kills him right there.
Damn.
And you look, and the Alliance swears vengeance because they basically got fucked by the Horde.
Right.
And you watch the Horde side of the same CG, and you see like all the heroes of the Horde go down one at a time in these waves of demons.
Mm-hmm.
Just boom, Thrall can't fucking hang anymore. Boom, Vol'jin fucking gets stabbed. Their war chief gets fucking stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing all these, greats of this place, and you go out there as your character too, and he'll roll out there, and you literally get swarmed by. They throw so many mobs at you that you have to back up or die.
Right.
And you're like, wow, this shit's getting serious.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically, once Vol'jin gets hit, Sylvanas has to make a decision. She can keep providing her Valkyria can continue, guarding the skies for the Alliance, or she can go grab everybody and get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, well, I'm going to save your lives, and we're not going to let the fucking horde die today for this.
Right.
And so she does. She goes, okay, and grabs all her people, and they leave.
Right. So now you have the perspective.
Mm-hmm. And it turns out Vol'jin fucking, dies from his injuries.
Oh, shit.
And this is what I was actually getting at right here, is Vol'jin actually calls everybody into his little tent while he's dying. And says, I'm not long for this world.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I never trusted you.
Oh, shit.
Never once did I trust you.
Oh, shit.
I thought it was a mistake that you even came here.
Damn.
But you made the decision for the Horde.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you are now war chief.
Oh, nice.
So he leaves the fucking control of the Horde till Sylvanas.
Nice.
So I thought it was really, and now you have like the Alliance is all pissed off at the Horde, and the Horde's like, we really didn't do anything.
Yeah, you just think we did.
You just thought we did.
Mm-hmm.
And the demons are still out there and they're doing their thing. So it's really, I thought that is probably their best thing because it was done from two completely different angles.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up you lost two prominent leaders. One of the Horde and one of the Alliance. And, a lot of things changed all at once.
Cool. I like that. Well, now that I've asked a question, I guess you and the audience as a whole are probably like, well, Michael, what is your favorite thing since you asked?
No, I'm not worried
care?
about that at all. No, fuck
not an iota. And I'll say, maybe
I'll tell us anyway.
Maybe I'll tell y'all my favorite one day. I'd actually like to go back and do some research, but I'll leave a little bit of intrigue on that one. I would, in turn, take the question and pose it to you, the audience. What is your favorite Blizzard cutscene / movie scene / story scene, whatever? Tell us what you like. Tell us what things you like. Tell us what you like about Blizzard in general. Because I can tell you this: if you don't know about Blizzard, how can you not? I mean, you got to be under a rock. But if you don't know that they do movie cutscenes. They've been doing movie cutscenes well for a long time.
Yep, they've got Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft. Oh, and that's pretty much it.
Lost Vikings.
Lost Vikings.
Lost Vikings. Which is a good game. I'm totally
it.
not knocking Lost Vikings. So, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Episode 2. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. I hope at least the audio quality is a little bit better. I honestly feel my microphone now is wired. His is still wireless. I think this, and I won't find this out till I go to edit. I hope the beeps are at least a little bit less.
One day we will have two good mics.
One day we will. And again, like I said before, we're gonna iron these things out over time. They just take money and work and time. We will get them.
One day I won't sound like I'm 12 years old on the podcast.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with somebody. If you happen to know a video gamer that they do this for a hobby, be it hardcore or casual, if they like to listen to podcasts, they like to have things in the background for noise or to drive to work or whatever. Hey, I know.
Listen to fucking podcast, scrubs.
Please help us spread the word. Put this podcast out there for people to share. If you have any comments, concerns, or questions, or gripes, complaints, or praises, or anything, we have a Facebook page in a Timecast, which is usually where this is linked to first. We have a Twitter. It's the only Twitter I own in real life, but it's our Twitter page. You can tweet at us. You can still send us emails at endofcasttime@gmail.com. That's endoftimecast@gmail.com. No funny way of spelling it. Just spell it like it is, and it'll come out right for you. Please send us a question. Let us know what's your saddest moment in gaming. What's your favorite Blizzard cutscene? You can harken back to the last episode. Tell us your top 5 RPGs.
Tell us how bad Will's opinions are.
Sure. Tell us. We definitely want to get some questions. Fortunately we've had some good feedback. Some people talking to us, but we're definitely looking for questions.
Oh, we're starving for more questions.
We love to know what you guys think about things and what you want to know from us. So let us know. Until next week, we will have a week. I already got an episode planned up, ready to go, so it's coming. But until next week, everybody have a good time sharing this with us. Thank you for listening, and you can hear us next time on the End of Cast. I'm Michael.
I'm Adam.
All right. Good night, everybody.